Chapter 54-65. Jun Lingxuan, why are you here? Di Beichen's face turned gloomy. His eyes flashed with surprise, revealing his inner turmoil. Noticing this, Jun Lingxuan's eyes became more complacent. What? Only you are allowed to come, and I am not allowed to come. You know, we are allies with the AO family. On the contrary, you are here to find trouble. If we are not here to help, wouldn't the AO family be bullied by you for no reason? AO Zhengquang saw this and his face also showed a look of relief. Yes, your D family is a big family. Today, you are coming aggressively. If not for young Master Jun and Miss Xiao's help, I'm afraid I can't stop you at all. Speaking of which, today is really a coincidence. We were just thinking of going to the AO family and bumped into you. Jun Lingxuan's lips curled up as he asked with a smile, Di Beichen, are you surprised? He was very proud when he knew that Di Beichen and the others were nearby. It seemed that the information they received was indeed correct. Taking advantage of this opportunity, they could finally catch Di Beichen and the others in one fell swoop. He had been looking forward to this day for a long time. Listening to Jun Lingxuan's words, Di Beichen sneered. You are always like a ghost. I have long been used to it. Seeing that Di Beichen pretended to be calm, Jun Lingxuan said disdainfully, Di Beichen, don't pretend. I can imagine your current mood. If you want to imagine, then imagine. Anyway, you have a rich imagination. These words sounded neither salty nor light, but in Jun Lingxuan's ears, no matter how he heard them, they didn't sound right. Was he mocking him? Di Beichen, how come he has a rich imagination? Sheng Guaniying couldn't help but ask. Every day, you rely on your imagination to defeat me. Isn't that a rich imagination? Pfft, Sheng Guaniying laughed without giving him any face. This joke was really interesting. Jun Lingxuan's face instantly turned livid, but then he heard Bailey Hongzhuang say, so, Xiao Sou's imagination is quite rich. No wonder they are called a match made in heaven. The cultivators of the AO clan looked at each other. Was this how a match made in heaven should be used? Xiao Sou's unfriendly expression became even more sinister, and her eyes were as deep as water. Bailey Hongzhuang, don't think that you're so great just because you've become the holy maiden of light. I remember when you thought you were the saintess of the light, you always acted like you were something. Bailey Hongzhuang told the truth with an innocent expression. You. Xiao Sou's face was filled with anger. Her livid face had already swelled to the color of pig liver. Even her ears had begun to fill with blood. However, she suddenly relaxed. You can be arrogant. Let's see how long you can be arrogant for. This time, the clan had already sent out their forces. Whether it was Bailey Hongzhuang or Di Beichen, it was impossible for them to leave alive. Moreover, these people who had helped Bailey Hongzhuang to belittle him would all die here this time. Then you'll have to watch carefully. Bailey Hongzhuang raised her eyebrows and said with a smile. In the next second, Di Beichen and Bailey Hongzhuang looked at each other. They also understood why Xiao Sou was able to restrain her anger. Obviously, she was waiting to deal with them later. Chapter 54-66. On the contrary, they were also looking forward to the confrontation with the Jun family. After so many years of grudges, although there was often friction between the disciples of both sides had never really gone to war. However, this time, no matter if it was the other side or them, they all came with the intention of killing each other. Jun Lingxuan, let's put aside the personal grudges between us for now. What we need to solve now is the matter of the AO family. Let's not disturb each other, okay? Di Beichen stared at Jun Lingxuan with his deep black eyes. Even if there would be an unavoidable battle between them later, the more important goal today was to help AO Lingxiao clear his name. When he agreed to come with AO Lingxiao, it was to give him the confidence to explain everything that had happened. If he used this as an opportunity to catch the spy and fight with the Jun family, it would be too inappropriate. Hearing this, Jun Lingxuan was very indifferent. He didn't care about the grudges of the Ao family at all. He didn't believe that Ao Lingxiao could change everyone's opinion. Moreover, even if it did, it had nothing to do with the Jun family. Okay. Seeing that Jun Lingxuan was about to agree to Di Beichen, O Zhengquang couldn't help but feel anxious. He quickly gave a signal with his eyes. The situation now was not the same as before. It was extremely unfavorable for him now. Jun Lingxuan noticed Ao Lingxiao's expression and was a little surprised. Logically speaking, after knowing that Di Beichen and the others would come today, Ao Zhengquang had been preparing for a long time to deal with them. They had thought of all kinds of situations. It should be impossible for them to not have the ability to resist. However, Ao Zhengquang was asking for help at this moment. Obviously, there was a problem. Ao Zhengquang naturally didn't think that Ao Lingxiao would say such a crazy thing. Generally speaking, what people cared about the most was their own life. Even if they were splashed with dirty water, there was no need to risk their lives. Now, he was going to drag him down with him. Di Beichen, don't talk to me about these useless things. Since we've met today, we should settle the score properly. The change in Jun Lingxuan's attitude was too fast, and everyone was keenly aware of it. Di Beichen looked at Ao Zhengquang meaningfully. It seems that someone doesn't want Jun Lingxuan to speak. The great elder and the others knew that there were many suspicious points. Even if they saw Ao Lingxiao in the room, it might not be enough to prove that he was the culprit. Most importantly, Ao Lingxiao's reaction at this moment was indeed somewhat suspicious. Di Beichen, stop slandering me. Ao Zhengquang jumped up anxiously as if someone had stepped on his tail. Everything that Ao Lingxiao is saying now is just sophistry. He just wants to use this method to win everyone's sympathy and make everyone suspect me. In this way, your plan can succeed, but I won't let you do as you wish. The next moment, Ao Zhengquang seemed to have made a huge decision. He suddenly said, Elders, I understand that Ao Lingxiao's words have shocked you and even made you suspect me. I also understand that he wanted to frame me but failed. He has been unwilling to accept it. Since that's the case, I'll take him down with me. This will be the last bit of strength I can do for my family. Chapter 54-67. Ao Zhengquang seemed to have thrown caution to the wind and was ready to sacrifice himself for the family. His eyes were resolute and firm, revealing a trace of unconcealable pain. Ling Xiao, let us brothers go to hell to meet our parents today. Drama queen, this guy is really a drama queen. Sheng Guanying couldn't help but curse out loud. After coming here today, she was simply watching this guy's performance. Ao Lingxiao faced this kind of Ao Zhengquang, his heart was furious to the extreme, but he didn't know what to say. At least, in terms of acting, he really couldn't compete with Ao Zhengquang. What the hell is going on? I'm confused. It's really hard to explain now. I feel that the second young master didn't seem like this guy, but the family head didn't seem to be lying either. One of them must be lying. Now that I think about it, their ability to disguise is too amazing. At this moment, everyone was confused. The only thing they were sure of was that one of the two people's acting skills was too amazing. A group of elders was also constantly thinking in their minds. What was the truth at that time? Aside from Ao Lingxiao and Ao Zhengquang, no one else knew, so they could only judge based on their own thoughts. Di Beichen, don't think about helping Ao Lingxiao turn the tables. Family head Ao has already said so much. What else do you want? Jun Lingxuan lazily looked at Di Beichen. Everything has already been determined. Even if you don't want to admit it now, it's useless. You don't have any evidence at all. Just relying on this mouth is completely useless. Xiao So also sneered. Why should everyone believe him? Unless there is a third person present or you have solid evidence, don't waste everyone's time here. Ao Lingxiao furrowed his brows. If he hadn't panicked and allowed Ao Lingxiao to convince everyone, the situation wouldn't have fallen to such a state. Noticing that the situation was beginning to change, the third elder also said, Ao Lingxiao, if you can't produce evidence, you can't avoid being punished by the family rules today. Ao Lingxiao's face turned pale as he faced the crowd's questioning. Evidence? Indeed, he didn't. When he thought about how he had prepared for so long, but in the end, it was all for naught, a pained expression appeared on his face. His parents had died so unjustly. As their son, he couldn't even find the real murderer for them. However, at this moment, Bailey Hongzhuang suddenly said, "Evidence? Who said there isn't?" As soon as these words were spoken, everyone present was stunned. Their shocked and astonished gazes were focused on Bailey Hongzhuang. Did I hear wrongly? The Saint of Light said that she has evidence. It's been so long since that incident. How could there still be evidence? If there was evidence, second young master would have said it long ago. He wouldn't have waited until now. Not only the cultivators of the Ao family, but even Shangguan Yingying and the others were stunned. They did not understand why Bailey Hongzhuang would suddenly say such a thing. Ziren, what's going on? Shangguan Yingying nudged Ziren with her elbow and asked curiously in a low voice. Chapter 54-68. Seeing that when Ziren didn't know what was going on, Shangguan Yingying stood quietly at the side. She believed that Bailey Hongzhuang must have her reasons for doing so. Maybe she really had evidence. Even if this possibility was very small, but with her understanding of Bailey Hongzhuang, she would never speak empty words. After Ao Zhengquang heard Bailey Hongzhuang's words, he couldn't help but be shocked and panicked subconsciously. When he did such a thing, he was also extremely nervous, but there shouldn't be any evidence left. Young Master Jun, what does Bailey Hongzhuang mean? Ao Zhengquang transmitted his voice. If possible, he really didn't want to deal with Bailey Hongzhuang. This woman always had the ability to subvert things. How stable was Xiao Sou's identity as the Holy Maiden of Light? However, after meeting Bailey Hongzhuang, all of this had a huge change. Now that Bailey Hongzhuang had turned the spearhead to the Ao family, he couldn't help but be worried. Don't panic. Jun Lingxuan was very calm. When you did that thing, Bailey Hongzhuang hadn't come to the upper realm yet. How could she have something on you? If Ao Lingxiao had it, he would have taken it out long ago. Why would he wait until now? Then what does she mean by this? After a short period of nervousness, Ao Zhengquang calmed down a little and his mind began to work quickly. In my opinion, she most likely wants to take this opportunity to blow you up. If you accidentally reveal some clues, then they will have evidence. Although it was a guess, Jun Lingxuan's tone was extremely firm. He had been dealing with Bailey Hongzhuang and the others for a long time. He knew that these guys were very treacherous, so the best strategy was to bide his time. Yes, you must not be nervous. Xiao Sou also said, since she dug such a big hole, let's see how she's going to clean it up later. A confident and expectant smile appeared on her beautiful face. Xiao Sou looked at Bailey Hongzhuang with sparkling eyes. It was as if she could foresee Bailey Hongzhuang being humiliated. Since you have evidence, just take it out so that everyone won't have to guess, Jun Lingxuan said lightly. That's right. I really didn't expect you to be so powerful. You've clearly only arrived in the upper realm 2 years ago, yet you've managed to obtain evidence of something that happened many years ago. If this were to spread, wouldn't it be shocking? Xiao Sou teased. He was obviously flattering Bailey Hongzhuang, but his words directly revealed the problem. After hearing this, the elders of the Ao clan also had expressions of disbelief. If Ao Lingxiao had evidence, they might have believed it. However, if Bailey Hongzhuang had evidence, then this was a complete joke. Most importantly, from Ao Lingxiao's shocked expression, it was clear that he didn't have any evidence at all. Wasn't this just toying with them? Hongzhuang, even if you fail today, it's fine. Don't ruin your reputation because of me. Ao Lingxiao couldn't help but worry. Now, Bailey Hongzhuang's identity was no longer the same as before. She was the young mistress of the D family and the Saint of Light. With these two identities added together, she was destined to be extraordinary. If they made a fool of themselves today, Jun Lingxuan and Xiao Shou definitely wouldn't let go of this opportunity. At that time, Bailey Hongzhuang would be greatly affected. Chapter 54-69. Aren't you the one who knows best whether I'm a celestial being or not? Bailey Hongzhuang looked at Xiao Shou with a smile. Even though the majority of the people present didn't believe her words, she still had a calm and confident look on her face. It was as if all the remarks weren't directed at her. Xiao Shou's gaze suddenly became gloomy. Looking at the bright and beautiful face in front of her, she really wanted to rush up and destroy it. This woman, no matter what, always had a confident look on her face. And it was this kind of expression that made her very unhappy. Then I'm really curious. If you have the ability, then take out the evidence. Otherwise, you're treating everyone here as fools. Xiao Shou spread out her hands and looked at the people around her. The corner of her mouth once again raised into a mocking smile. The dignified Holy Maiden of Light, if you spout nonsense in front of others and say something unreliable, it would be very interesting if word got out. As soon as these words came out, the cultivators of the Xiao and Jun families couldn't help but chuckle. Big sister, isn't she obviously lying? But this kind of cheap trick, no one would be fooled by it. Xiao Sudong's face was full of disdain. He used to think that Bailey Hongzhuang was quite clever, but today, he felt that Bailey Hongzhuang was simply brainless. Holy Maiden of Light, if you really have evidence, I hope you can take it out. This is very important to our family. The great elder's calm voice was filled with sincerity. He believed that the Saint of Light would not casually say something so uncouth. As the great elder of the family, and also the uncle of the deceased family head, he hoped to know the truth. Now, whether it was Ao Zhengquang or Ao Lingxiao, their behavior made him suspicious. But even if everyone didn't believe Ao Lingxiao, in his heart, he still believed that Ao Lingxiao wouldn't do such a thing. He watched Ao Zhengquang and Ao Lingxiao grow up and understood their temperament very well. But at that time, they all saw Ao Lingxiao holding a dagger in his hand in the house, which made them believe everything. If there was evidence, then he could be completely at ease. He didn't want to be deceived by that bastard who killed his parents for a lifetime. Then, he would become a sinner of the Ao clan. When the second elder saw that the first elder was actually so serious, he was also a little surprised. However, when he saw the enchanting figure standing proudly in front of him, he understood. Because Bailey Hongzhuang was too young, they always subconsciously ignored her identity as the Saint of Light. Although Xiao Shou was also young, her reputation had been around for a long time. Everyone had subtly gotten used to it. On the other hand, Bailey Hongzhuang was a figure who had risen to fame in the past 2 years. Everyone had not completely accepted this change. However, since she had such a status, it was naturally impossible for her to speak nonsense without any scruples in such an occasion. First Elder, Bailey Hongzhuang is obviously talking nonsense. How can you still believe her? Ao Zhengquang was speechless for a while. He only thought that the great elder was getting more and more muddle-headed as he got older. He was confused because of his concern, so there was a moment of panic. But the great elder didn't have to go that far. The words of the Holy Maiden of Light are naturally not false. The great elder still insisted. Chapter 54-70. Back then, there was no evidence at all. On the contrary, all the evidence pointed towards Ao Zhengquang. Even after so many years, he still had no way to change everything. Therefore, when he returned this time, he was more prepared to kill Ao Zhengquang. In this way, he could be considered to have avenged his parents. As for the rest, he no longer cared. Even if he were to fall in the Ao clan, it would be worth it. At least, the Ao clan would not fall into the hands of this ambitious man. Of course, he wanted to take back the clan. However, unless Jun Lingxuan and Ao Zhengquang revealed the truth, he had no bargaining chips. Seeing Ao Lingxiao so worried, Di Beichen smiled and patted his shoulder. His handsome face was free and easy. Don't worry. Bailey Hongzhuang glanced at Di Beichen and realized that Di Beichen was looking at her with trust. Even if he did not know what she was planning to do, Di Beichen was also full of trust. If that's the case, then I will take out the evidence and clear Ao Lingxiao's name. The corners of Bailey Hongzhuang's lips rose slightly. Her proud figure set off her confident face, as dazzling as the sun, attracting everyone's attention. Xiao Shou looked at Bailey Hongzhuang lazily. The so-called evidence did not exist. In the next moment, a porcelain bottle appeared in Bailey Hongzhuang's hand. Saintess, what is this? The great elder looked at Bailey Hongzhuang suspiciously. Naturally, he had heard of Bailey Hongzhuang's identity as an alchemist. However, why would she take out a pill at this time? I wonder if the great elder has heard of the truth pill. Bailey Hongzhuang's voice was gentle. She was also very respectful towards the great elder. Based on his current performance, the great elder was obviously a fair and impartial existence. Moreover, even though Ao Zhengquang had been the clan leader for so many years, the great elder was not bribed by him. Most importantly, she understood from the great elder's attitude towards Ao Lingxiao that he was a person who valued friendship and righteousness. This was something that deserved everyone's respect. As Bailey Hongzhuang finished speaking, everyone present was stunned. Truth pill. The great elder was also a little surprised. However, after thinking about it carefully, he remembered something related to it. Saintess, are you talking about the pill that will make people speak only the truth after consuming it? Although this kind of medicinal pill was not helpful for cultivation, it could play a huge role in many cases, especially during interrogation. It could be used in the simplest way to get everything he wanted to know. However, the recipe for such a pill had been lost many years ago. Everyone felt very helpless about this. It was a pity that many precious treasures had disappeared in the long flow of history. However, now that Bailey Hongzhuang had mentioned the truth pill, everyone was very surprised. Could it be that Bailey Hongzhuang still had this lost recipe? Not only the great elder, but the other cultivators also understood the preciousness of the truth pill after a short moment of surprise. They all looked at Bailey Hongzhuang in astonishment. If she really had the recipe for the truth pill, it would be amazing. Jun Lingxuan could not help but be stunned when he heard about the truth pill. He frowned and his eyes were full of suspicion. The truth pill has disappeared for many years. The relevant records can only be seen in the history books. Bailey Hongzhuang mentioned this out of the blue. Could it be that there really is one? Chapter 54-71. Ao Zhengquang's expression suddenly changed, and his palms couldn't help but sweat. Everything that happened at that time was indeed dead, but if there really was a truth pill, then everything would be ruined. When he looked at Bailey Hongzhuang again, his expression was extremely complicated. This woman could always come up with some words that others couldn't think of, inexplicably giving him an indescribable threat. As far as I know, the pill formula of the truth pill has been lost for many years. Now, no one in the entire upper realm knows about it. Bailey Hongzhuang, don't be deliberately mystifying, this is simply impossible. Xiao Shou snorted coldly and sneered at Bailey Hongzhuang's words. If Shangguan Yingying and the others were still a little worried about Bailey Hongzhuang's situation before, then at this moment, after knowing all this, they were not worried at all. It was not the first time they had seen this lost pill formula on Bailey Hongzhuang. For others, it was difficult to obtain the lost pill formula, but for Bailey Hongzhuang, it was simply a common occurrence. At least, in terms of pills, they had never doubted Bailey Hongzhuang. Ling Xiao, you can rest assured now, Hongzhuang will help you prove your innocence. A look of excitement appeared on Wen Xiren's face. Previously, when he thought of Ao Ling Xiao's predicament, as his brother, it would be very difficult for him to help. But now, there was finally a way to save him. How could he not feel happy? Ao Ling Xiao was still in a state of shock for a while, and he hadn't reacted yet. After hearing Xiren's words, he still didn't dare to be sure, is this true? Of course it's true. Xiren nodded. You don't have to doubt the pill that Hongzhuang took out, Mo Yinjue said with certainty. Hearing this, Ao Ling Xiao's face, which had lost all hope, suddenly seemed to be rejuvenated, and his dim eyes were filled with hope again. If there really was such a pill, then everything could be easily solved, and he wouldn't have to endure everyone's doubts and guesses. On the contrary, he could hold his head high and be an upright person. The people from the Jun family and the Xiao family naturally noticed the joy on Bailey Hongzhuang's side. Their confidence couldn't help but weaken a little. If these words came from someone else's mouth, they would definitely not believe it. However, the person who spoke was Bailey Hongzhuang. For some reason, they felt uneasy. Xiao Sou, whether you believe me or not is your business. It has nothing to do with me. Bailey Hongzhuang faintly glanced at Xiao Sou, then turned her gaze to Ao Zhengquang. Since Ao family head is so sure that everything he said is true, then why don't you and Ling Xiao take this truth pill together? In this way, the truth can be distinguished. If everything was really done by Ling Xiao, then you can punish him according to your family's rules. We will definitely not get involved. Chapter 54-72. Jun Lingxuan's heart was beating like a drum at the moment. He didn't know what Bailey Hongzhuang was up to, but he couldn't see any clues from her confident expression. Logically speaking, the possibility of the existence of the truth pill was almost zero, but other than that, he couldn't think of any other reason to explain what Bailey Hongzhuang was doing at the moment. Now that Bailey Hongzhuang had forced Ao Zhengquang to this point, they had no other choice. If they agreed, they would fall into Bailey Hongzhuang's trap. If they didn't agree, it was bound to arouse everyone's suspicion. Just when Jun Lingxuan was hesitating and didn't know what to do, Xiao Sou's voice sounded first. Let's try. Xiao Sou sneered, I hope you don't shoot yourself in the foot. If you're exposed, you won't be able to get off the stage. You don't have to worry about it. Bailey Hongzhuang shrugged, between you and me, only you will do this. You. Xiao Sou glared at Bailey Hongzhuang fiercely. What this guy did was simply infuriating. I want to remind you that if you don't want to lose face, leave here as soon as possible. Otherwise, if you're exposed later, you won't be able to get off the stage. If you accidentally faint like last time, I'm worried that you'll say that I bullied you. The delicate and gentle voice was like the sound of nature, but it was like a needle hidden in cotton, which made Xiao Sou extremely uncomfortable. At that time, in front of so many people, she fainted because of anger. It was really embarrassing. This guy just liked to expose people's scars. You only need to worry about yourself. Last time, I did fall, but this time, I definitely won't. The next moment, Xiao Sou turned to look at Ao Zhengquang, quickly take this truth pill to prove your innocence. Looking at the impulsive Xiao Sou in front of him, Ao Zhengquang was really suffering. Wasn't he here to help her solve her problem today? Why was this Xiao family's eldest miss so focused on being angry that she didn't even think about his situation? Don't worry, this can't be true. Xiao Sou lowered her voice, a while ago, I just happened to hear my father mention this truth pill. It's said that even the Alchemist Association doesn't have it. Moreover, although there have been new discoveries of historical remains recently, the Truth Pill's pill formula hasn't appeared, so you can rest assured. Bailey Hongzhuang just wants to use this method to scare you so that you don't dare to take it. In this way, everyone will be more careful of Ao Lingxiao. Hearing this, Ao Zhengquang was a little hesitant. Xiao Sou's words were indeed not wrong, but when he thought about this period of time, Xiao Sou had been defeated by Bailey Hongzhuang, he could not help but be a little worried. For Xiao Sou, it was no big deal to lose, but if he lost this time, then his life would really be over. Master Ao, you are so hesitant. Could it be that you have a guilty conscience? Di Beichen chuckled. His sharp eyes seemed to be able to see through everything. For a moment, Ao Zhengquang only felt that everything in his heart was seen through by Di Beichen, but he quickly calmed down and calmly said, "This time, Ao Lingxiao came with the purpose of perishing together with me. How do I know that you won't do anything to this pill?" Chapter 54-73. How about I take this pill? Di Beichen quickly followed up. Hearing this, Ao Zhengquang coldly looked at Bailey Hongzhuang. These guys must have already expected all the possibilities before, so they could deal with it so easily. Alright then. No matter how unwilling he was, he could only choose to agree. However, just as Ao Zhengquang and Ao Lingxiao were about to take the truth pill, a large group of people suddenly came from behind. The dense sound of footsteps attracted everyone's attention. Turning their gazes slightly, everyone found that Jun Hongcheng and Xiao Yanlong were leading the cultivators of the two big families slowly walking over. The huge formation attracted everyone's shocked gaze. Everyone looked at this vast group of people in astonishment. They didn't understand why they would appear here at this moment. The heads of the two big families are here. Isn't this formation a bit too shocking? Today, we are just dealing with our family's affairs. Why are the people of the three big families all here? I'm afraid something big is going to happen. Do you think that Xiao Sou and the others want to deal with Bailey Hongzhuang, but they don't have enough strength, so even the heads of their families are here? The cultivators of the Ao family looked at each other. Countless thoughts emerged in their minds, but everyone's guess was almost the same. Because other than this, they couldn't think of any other reason. After Bailey Hongzhuang and the others noticed this scene, they sneered in their hearts. It seems that the Xiao family really values us. Even the head of the family is here. The phoenix eyes that were as black as ink let out a cold brilliance. Bailey Hongzhuang quietly revealed a trace of killing intent between her brows. If others don't offend me, I won't offend them. The other party's actions today were obviously to kill them. Since that was the case, she wouldn't be polite. Since they were destined to be enemies, it was better to end it completely. If they could end the other party's life, it would be a great thing for them. Father's judgment is indeed correct. The Xiao clan's patriarch dotes on Xiao Sou to a degree that is beyond the comprehension of ordinary people. It's just that your daughter has been wronged. You don't even care about your face. Di Beichen's voice was cold and his expression was indifferent. He just calmly looked at the group of people in front of him. A storm was brewing in the depths of his eyes. Actually, from the fact that Patriarch Xiao can walk together with Jun Hongcheng, I can tell that the two of them are birds of a feather. Otherwise, how can an ordinary person stand such a despicable and shameless person like Jun Hongcheng? Di Xiaofeng sneered mercilessly. He knew that the Jun family was shameless to the extreme, but now he understood that the Xiao family was the same. In comparison, their previous actions were too gentlemanly. In the future, they would definitely not be polite to such fellows. Father, you're here. After Xiao Sou saw that Xiao Yanlong had come, a flower-like smile immediately bloomed on her face. The anger that had accumulated on her face quietly dissipated and was replaced by a trace of relief. It was as if she had eaten a calming pill and all the uneasiness from before disappeared. A doting smile also appeared on Xiao Yanlong's face. How is the matter progressing? Xiao Shou looked at Bailey Hongzhuang with a malicious gaze. Aren't you still stubborn? Chapter 54-74. Xiao Yanlong nodded his head slightly and looked at Jun Lingxuan with satisfaction. Ever since he accepted Jun Lingxuan as his future son-in-law, he was quite satisfied. When the great elder of the AO clan saw that there were so many people in the clan today, he could not help but frown. He had an ominous feeling in his heart. In fact, before this, the clan head had already told him that AO Lingxiao could come back at any time. Therefore, he did not find the appearance of Di Beichen and Jun Lingxuan too strange. However, when the two clan heads appeared here, the situation became completely different. Vaguely, he felt that a lot of things were going to happen today. Most importantly, from the clan head's expression, he did not seem to see much surprise. Could it be that the clan head already knew about this? Clan head, what's the situation now? At the same time, the second elder had already asked Ao Zhengquang directly. I don't know either. Ao Zhengquang shook his head. The people from the three big clans are all here. Compared to them, we are the weakest. I'm afraid we can't do anything. Why don't we just watch first? Hearing this, the second elder nodded his head slightly. This was also the truth. Compared to the three big clans, the AO clan really could not get a word in. What's the situation with Ling Sun now? Jun Hongqing glanced at Di Beichen and the others arrogantly and asked. Bailey Hongzhuang said that she has the truth pill. Therefore, she is now planning to let clan head AO and AO Lingxiao take the truth pill to see who is telling the truth. Jun Lingxuan simply recounted what had happened before and gave Jun Hongqing a look. If they could prevent Ao Zhengquang from taking the truth pill, this would undoubtedly be the best. Previously, he was worried that he had no reason to refuse. Now that Jun Hongqing was here, he could naturally directly pass the previous matter. Jun Hongqing naturally understood what his son meant. A trace of impatience appeared between his eyebrows. What does this have to do with us? You came here to settle your own matters. Not yet. Jun Lingxuan shook his head. His expression was somewhat ashamed. After all, this is the territory of the AO clan. Their matter hasn't been settled yet. So, it's not convenient for us to do anything else. What's inconvenient about that? Xiao Yanlong had an indifferent expression as he said to Xiao Shou, nothing else is important. The most important thing is to resolve the grudge between the two of you. So, you can do whatever you want. Xiao Yanlong's thoughts were very simple. He came this time to let Xiao Shou vent her anger. Whether it was Di Beichen or Bailey Hongzhuang, they had already felt threatened. If they were allowed to continue growing, they would definitely become their greatest enemy in the future. Therefore, even if their actions today were indeed against the rules, as long as they could kill these two fellows who might shake the foundation of their family in the future, everything would be worth it. Moreover, these two had made his daughter so disappointed. It was only right for them to pay the price. Seeing that her father was so supportive of her, Xiao Shou was also excited. She immediately turned her gaze and said with a ferocious expression, since that's the case, let's first cripple Bailey Hongzhuang. A strong hatred flashed in her eyes. When she said the word cripple, she gritted her teeth and revealed an unconcealable excitement. Chapter 54-75. Seeing that Xiao Yanlong had targeted Bailey Hongzhuang without saying a word, Di Beichen's face instantly became gloomy, and a terrible storm swept through his eyes that were as deep as the sea. Patriarch Xiao, as an elder, you actually came to deal with the younger generation. Don't you think it's too shameful? His cold words were filled with suppression and killing intent. When everyone noticed Di Beichen's expression, they couldn't help but be shocked. They had never seen such a terrifying Di Beichen. At this moment, he seemed to be shrouded in a layer of shadow. A shocking killing intent spread out with him as the center. The surrounding air seemed to have become condensed and oppressive, causing everyone's hearts to tremble for no reason. Xiao Yanlong originally didn't take Di Beichen's words to heart, but after seeing the latter's shocking appearance, he couldn't help but be shocked. At such a young age, he actually had such a terrifying killing intent. It was likely that many people had died at his hands. This kind of Di Beichen made him feel that this child couldn't be left alive. He didn't know how Di Yujue's luck was so good. His son had been wandering outside for so many years, and after returning, he could still be so outstanding. It made people jealous. It's not like they've been shameful for a day or two. Di Xiaofeng's eyes were filled with ridicule. The Jun family was able to make a move on an infant a few years ago. Now that the two of them are colluding with each other, it's probably very fair for them to bully the young. Di Xiaofeng, don't think that just because you're a junior, you can casually accuse others. Don't make wild guesses without evidence. Jun Hongqing coldly warned. They had done everything very cleanly and didn't leave any traces. Even if the Di family had already determined all of this, he still wouldn't admit it. Wild guesses. Di Xiaofeng coldly snorted. If they didn't have enough evidence before, then everything had come to light after catching Dai Heoan. Jun Hongqing not only used an infant, but more than once. Beichen had been wandering outside all these years, the third elder's child had died, and Dai Heoan had been used as soon as he was born. In comparison, even though they could not tolerate what Dai Heoan had done, from Dai Heoan's point of view, he was also a pitiful person because he could not control what he wanted to do. Whether or not it's just a wild guess, the Jun family head should know in his heart. After seeing this scene, the great elder of the Ao family completely understood. It seemed like the Jun family and the Xiao family wanted to take advantage of Ao Ling Zhao's return to deal with Di Beichen and the others. Even though the Ao family was now attached to the Jun family, he still frowned when he saw this scene. Generally speaking, seniors would not attack juniors. Although this was not a rule, it was something that everyone abided by. However, there were only a few juniors from the Di family, and the other side had sent so many people to surround and annihilate them. If this spread out, it would be a joke. Most importantly, from this point, it could be seen that the temperaments of these two clan heads were too petty. Jun family head, it's not good for the strong to bully the young. The great elder of the Ao family thought and said, moreover, the Saint of Light has a special identity. If you attack her, this. Chapter 54-76. The Holy Light Assembly was a colossus in the upper realm. Xiao Shou had been in the Holy Light Assembly for a long time, so she must be very clear about this. The Jun family and the Xiao family were big families, so they might have some power to contend with them. However, for the Ao family, this was definitely a disaster. Hearing this, Jun Hongqing's face suddenly became gloomy. He scolded, "It's not your turn to interrupt." The great elder's face suddenly turned red. He was already so old, but he still had to be taught a lesson by someone younger than him. However, the other party's status was higher than his, so he could only endure it. Bailey Hongzhuang quietly glanced at the great elder of the Ao family. Although these words were for the sake of the Ao family, it was also to protect their safety. "Great elder, this matter is not something we can participate in. Don't speak any more. If the family is implicated, wouldn't it be terrible?" Ao Zhengquang quickly pulled the great elder to the side and lowered his voice in exasperation. Today was a good opportunity to get rid of Di Beichen and the others. He was still hoping that after getting rid of Ao Lingxiao, he could be completely at ease. He didn't expect the great elder to be so inconsiderate. At this time, saying these words would make the two family heads unhappy. Wasn't that looking for trouble? Xiao Shou saw that her father was supporting her. Why would she care about anything else? After killing Bailey Hongzhuang and the others, as long as the people present shut up, it would be fine. Without evidence, the Holy Light Assembly couldn't do anything to her. Moreover, once Bailey Hongzhuang died, the title of the Holy Light Assembly's saint might still fall on her head. At that time, would she still have to worry about these things? Do it. Kill her. Xiao Sou's face was full of ruthlessness. This woman destroyed everything she cared about. She wanted Bailey Hongzhuang to pay with her blood. Following Xiao Sou's words, the family's cultivators behind her rushed forward and attacked Bailey Hongzhuang. How shameless! Shang Guanying secretly spat, but the origin energy in her body quickly surged, and she was ready to fight. Di Beichen and Mo Yinjue both appeared at Bailey Hongzhuang's side for the first time. Watching the other party's figure getting closer and closer, their eyes became colder and colder. Attack! Almost immediately, everyone started fighting. There were more than a dozen Nebula Realm cultivators. Obviously, they were aware of the strength of Bailey Hongzhuang and the others, so they were specially sent here. Jun Hongcheng and Xiao Yanlong, on the other hand, were extremely calm. This was also a competition between young people. Although they were here, they did not make a move, so naturally, they were not involved. Looking at the cultivators in front of them, Bailey Hongzhuang and the others also moved. Before the other party's attack came, they had already taken the lead to face them. Bang! The battle erupted in an instant. Everyone's origin energy surged, their gazes were fierce, and their attacks were merciless. Ever since they found out about Ao Lingxiao's matter, they were filled with resentment and had nowhere to vent it. Now that the other party had delivered themselves to their doorstep, they would first collect some interest. Even if the other party was a high-level Nebula Realm cultivator, Bailey Hongzhuang and the others were not too worried. Now that they were not weak, even if they were usually very busy, they had never slacked off on their cultivation. Chapter 54-77. Xiao Sou stood at the side with a smile. She crossed her arms in front of her chest and looked down at Bailey Hongzhuang and the others. No matter what, Bailey Hongzhuang would die in their hands today. She couldn't help but feel excited just thinking about it. However, as the group of cultivators rushed up, Xiao Sou was shocked to find that Bailey Hongzhuang and the others weren't at a disadvantage at all. Sheng Guanying and the others' cultivations were slightly weaker, so it was a little difficult for them to deal with these opponents. However, Di Beichen and the others would also pay attention to help, so it wasn't very difficult for them to deal with these opponents. Bailey Hongzhuang and Di Beichen's combat strength couldn't be judged by their cultivations. When they fully unleashed their full power, their combat strength was extremely shocking. Of course, they couldn't compare to Ling Er. Ling Er's attack was really domineering to the extreme. It was an absolute suppression of strength. Jun Lingshuan and the others didn't put Ling Er in their eyes at all. They didn't know who Ling Er was, and they had never seen her before. However, after seeing Ling Er's combat strength at this moment, they couldn't help but be dumbfounded. Nebula Realm cultivators seemed to be nothing in front of Ling Er. She could easily defeat them with a casual attack. When Xiren and the others also looked at Ling Er with admiration. They didn't expect Ling Er to be so powerful. It seemed that they didn't need to do anything at all. Ling Er could directly deal with these guys. Not only Ling Er, but Bai Li Yen Che was also a violent existence. Because his appearance was really too monstrous, many cultivators wanted to teach him a lesson. Especially when they felt that Bai Li Yen Che's cultivation couldn't compare to theirs, they became even more proud. However, it was only after this exchange that they realized that they were gravely mistaken. This was because that powerful strength wasn't something that a Nebula Realm cultivator could withstand. Almost all of the people who exchanged blows were destroyed by this strength. The tyrannical strength directly defeated them. They didn't even have time to release their martial techniques before their hands were directly crippled. How can these two guys be so powerful? Jun Lingxuan frowned. He had already noticed these two guys back in the piercing wind city. However, he didn't pay too much attention to them at that time. He only thought that these two people's looks were very outstanding, but he didn't expect them to be so powerful as well. Logically, it was impossible for these two guys to be from the lower realm. But if they were from the realm, it was impossible that he hadn't heard of them until now. Jun Hongqing's gaze was sinister and sharp. The talents that had recently appeared in the D clan had really surprised him. This man and woman looked very young, but their strength had already reached such a level. If they continued to develop, they would not be underestimated. Over the years, it could be said that he knew the D family's situation like the back of his hand. How could he not know when such an outstanding group of young people had appeared in the D family? Regardless of whether it was Ling, or Bailey Hongzhuang, they didn't hold back at all in their attacks. They had long detested these two families to the extreme. Today, they had come to settle their grudges. Xiao Yanlong's gaze became even more gloomy when he saw how ruthless and heartless Bailey Hongzhuang and the others were when they attacked. All of you, come back. Regardless, Nebula Realm cultivators were already a considerable force to the D family. They couldn't all die at the hands of these people. Chapter 5478. When they realized how powerful Bailey Hongzhuang and the others were, they had long wanted to retreat. The other party's cultivation was clearly not higher than theirs, but their combat strength was actually so shocking. In just a short period of time, more than half of the cultivators had fallen. When the cultivators from the AO clan saw this scene, they couldn't help but sigh in their hearts. It seemed like the news they had heard was true. The young master of the D clan and the others were extremely powerful. They were truly the cream of the crop among the younger generation. No wonder I heard that the Shao clan's young miss and the others were never a match for the Saintess. Now it seems that it was not wrong at all. That's natural. If they could defeat young Master D, the two clan heads wouldn't have to come personally today. Tisk Tsk, young Master D and the others have also fallen today. Who would have thought that the other party would be so excessive? Everyone shook their heads and sighed. Even if D Beichen and the others won now, as long as the two clan heads were here, the outcome could not be changed. What kind of strength did the two clan heads have? As long as they made a move, D Beichen and the others would not have the strength to fight back. I have really underestimated you. Xiao Yanlong narrowed his eyes. The reason why he let the Nebula Realm cultivators fight was because he did not want to be labeled as a bully. He never thought that the situation would be somewhat different from what he had expected. The combat strength of these young people was not just a little bit stronger than his own daughters. At this moment, he also understood why Xiao Sou would grit her teeth when she mentioned Bailey Hongzhuang. It was because she could not deal with the other party. If you have really underestimated us, you don't have to come personally today. To deal with a few juniors, the Shao clan still needs to come personally. It seems that your clan is really getting weaker and weaker now. D Beichen mocked mercilessly. There was no need to give face to such a thick-skinned guy. D Beichen, how can you be so rude in front of clan head Xiao? Jun Lingxuan immediately stood up and looked angrily at D Beichen as he berated. This old guy doesn't even care about his own face, yet he still wants me to respect him. Doesn't he know if he's worthy? D Beichen lazily glanced at Jun Lingxuan. Speaking of which, I really sympathize with you. Back then, you pursued Xiao Sou because of her identity as the Saint of the Light. Now, all your efforts are in vain, yet you can't let go. Don't you feel aggrieved? As soon as these words were spoken, when Xiren and the others, who originally had a serious expression on their faces, could not help but laugh. Although they were all aware of this situation, D Beichen directly said it in front of Xiao Yanlong. This was very interesting. Sure enough, Xiao Yanlong and Xiao Sou's faces immediately turned ashen. The expression of being humiliated but not knowing how to smooth things over was even more interesting in their eyes. Di Beichen, don't talk nonsense. Jun Lingxuan quickly said. There's no need to explain. Everyone here understands. Who doesn't know your purpose in doing that? Di Beichen's expression was calm. Based on Jun Lingxuan's utilitarian heart, it was impossible for him to pursue Xiao Sou because he liked her. Moreover, they were both men. From the way Jun Lingxuan looked at Xiao Sou, they could tell that it was definitely not love, but mutual use. It was obviously not a conclusive accusation, but everyone knew that everything Di Beichen said was true. Chapter 54-79. Brat, how dare you humiliate my daughter like this? I want you to die. Xiao Yanlong's expression was terrifyingly gloomy. Humiliating his daughter in front of him was no different from humiliating the entire Xiao family. At this moment, Di Beichen gave him a completely different feeling. When he had first met him in the Di family, he had only thought that he was a young and handsome man. Even though his cultivation was not very high, his looks were inherited from Di Yujue. However, at this moment, Di Beichen was no longer as courteous as before. Most importantly, even Xiao Yanlong could not help but be moved by his cold murderous aura. This man was definitely not a kind person. Once he touches someone he cares about, he would become abnormally vicious. Therefore, Xiao Yanlong wanted to nip this danger in the bud. Otherwise, it would be very dangerous. In the next moment, under the nervous gazes of Bailey Hongzhuang and the others, Xiao Yanlong's figure flashed and directly attacked Di Beichen. A tyrannical pressure broke out in an instant, and the powerful force made it difficult for Bailey Hongzhuang and the others to move under this pressure. Bailey Hongzhuang stared at Xiao Yanlong in shock. Even though she had expected Xiao Yanlong to be very powerful, it seemed that they had still underestimated the extent of his power. At the very least, aside from her master and grandmaster, she had not met anyone else who was as powerful as he was before. Of course, this was also because her father had never displayed his power in front of them. She believed that her father's power would not be any weaker than Xiao Yanlong's. Di Beichen. Watch out! Bailey Hongzhuang and the others cried out in horror. Under such a crushing coercion, they could not help at all. When Di Beichen saw Xiao Yanlong getting closer and closer, his handsome face turned cold. He forcefully moved his body in an attempt to dodge the attack. At the same time, Jun Lingxuan and Xiao Sou looked pleased with themselves. This was because in the next second, they would be able to see Di Beichen's miserable appearance as his blood splattered everywhere. Bang! A loud sound rang out as elemental energy ripples rapidly spread out. Even the cultivators who were extremely far away could feel the overflowing force, causing their faces to hurt. Thump! Thump! Xiao Yanlong took 2 steps back and appeared in front of Xiao Sou. Immediately afterward, everyone found a tall and straight figure in aqua blue appeared in front of Di Beichen. Xiao Yanlong, after not seeing you for a period of time, I never thought that you would actually become so shameless. You can even do such a thing to a junior. A clear and bright voice slowly rang out. It was as if the sun had cleared up after the rain and scattered into people's hearts, making them feel inexplicably comfortable. However, those who understood him could feel the cold and surging murderous intent in his voice. Father. Di Beichen looked at the tall and straight figure in front of him with a hint of warmth in his eyes. If his father hadn't appeared in time, he would have been seriously injured. After all, the strength of the family head was extremely powerful. It was simply impossible for the younger generation to resist. Di Yujue. Xiao Yanlong stared in shock at Di Yujue who had suddenly appeared. He could not understand why Di Yujue would appear here today. Jun Hongcheng was also shocked when he saw Di Yujue appear. The information he had received did not say that Du Jue would be here today. What had gone wrong? Are you surprised to see me? Du Jue looked at Xiao Yanlong indifferently. You dare to attack my son. It looks like you intend to fight to the death with me today. Chapter 5480. Originally, due to their many years of friendship, he had placed more of his target on Jun Hongqing today. He had never thought that he would see such a scene after coming here. Since that was the case, they could only fight to the death. Noticing Du Jue's expression, Xiao Yanlong's heart was slightly frightened. He and Du Jue had been good friends for so many years, so he knew the latter's temperament very well. Di Beichen was definitely Du Jue's reverse scale. Whoever dared to touch him, Du Jue would definitely risk his life. Moreover, Du Jue's strength was very terrifying. Even he was no match for him. Xiao Yanlong opened his mouth. He, who was originally very arrogant, actually felt a little guilty at this moment. Du Jue, don't show off here. Today, your son was rude. Brother Xiao was just helping you to teach your son a lesson. Who asked you to not teach him well? Jun Hongqing said lightly. Oh. Du Jue raised his eyebrows. So, you're also planning to fight with me today? Don't be too arrogant. Jun Hongqing suddenly became angry. So what if you're here? Do you really think that the Di family's strength is so great? If you want to put on airs in front of us, you alone are not enough. If that's the case, how about me too? Suddenly, another figure appeared beside Du Jue. It was Di Beichen's grandfather, Lin Wenlan. Seeing that Lin Wenlan had also appeared, Jun Hongqing was also stunned. Then, his expression suddenly changed. The appearance of Du Jue had already made him suspicious. Now that Lin Wenlan had also appeared, it proved that there was really a problem. Could it be that they had been discovered? Otherwise, the Tsu Ao family would not have needed Du Jue and Xiao Yanlong to come here personally. The reason why they were here was probably to deal with him and Xiao Yanlong. Xiao Yanlong's expression also became complicated. Originally, with their strength, killing Di Beichen and the others was undoubtedly easy. However, now that Du Jue and Lin Wenlan had arrived, the strength of both sides was almost equal, and the suppression from before no longer existed. Brother Jun, what's going on? Xiao Yanlong couldn't help but ask. Because Jun Hongqing had promised before that there would be a way, he did not pay too much attention to this matter. Could it be that Jun Hongqing was discovered by the Di family when he was inquiring about the news? Was that why Du Jue came in person today? I don't know either. Jun Hongqing was a little embarrassed. He had previously guaranteed that nothing would go wrong. Who would have thought that such a variable would appear? However, Brother Xiao, you don't have to worry. Even if they come, they might not be able to threaten us. Xiao Yanlong retracted his gaze in annoyance. Indeed, even if both of them came, they might not necessarily lose. However, if they wanted to make a move against Di Beichen and the others, it would be very difficult. Xiao Sou naturally also realized this point, and her original excitement quietly disappeared. Clenching her fists, she looked at Bailey Hongzhuang hatefully. She did not expect this guy's luck to be so good. Beichen, has the matter of the Ao family been settled? Du Jue suddenly asked. Di Beichen shook his head. I originally planned to let Ao Zhenghuang and Ao Lingxiao take the truth pill, but I don't know if the Jun family is guilty or what, but they stopped me. Stopped? Du Jue sneered, this is the Ao family's matter. What right do they have to stop it? Chapter 5481. Seeing that Du Jue was ignoring him, Jun Hongqing's face was extremely cold. Du Jue, this is not your Di family. Do you really think you can make decisions here? All these years, you have been eyeing my D family. You want to take everything away. The AO family used to be a subsidiary of my family. Suddenly, it became yours. I have some doubts. Today, my son came here to solve this matter. Naturally, we have to make things clear. Unless you have a guilty conscience. What do I have to be guilty about? Jun Hongqing sneered. Isn't it because your D family is incompetent? That's why the AO family turned to my Jun family. In that case, let's let the AO family solve their internal affairs first. Then, we can solve our grudges. How about it? If you are afraid. The corners of Du Jue's lips curled up slightly as flames of fury burned in the depths of his eyes. After all, the Jun family had done too many things to their family in the dark over the years. Today, he was going to settle it one by one. I'm just reminding you that the truth pill is a lost pill. It is impossible for it to exist. Even if you want to find a gimmick, you shouldn't be so brainless. Since the Jun family head has agreed, let's start. Du Jue said directly. Ao Zhengquang was embarrassed. He didn't want to put himself in such a situation. However, the four family heads didn't say anything. He could only do as he was told. Ao Lingxiao didn't hesitate to take the truth pill. He trusted Bailey Hongzhuang 100%. Ao Zhengquang took the pill. He didn't know what kind of pill it was. However, after taking it, there was no reaction. He was relieved. What truth pill? He didn't believe it. Could it be that he couldn't control himself after taking it? What a joke. Ao Zhengquang, you can talk about what happened that day. Looking at Ao Zhengquang's indifferent face, Bailey Hongzhuang's lips curled up into a playful smile. After consuming the truth pill, he did not feel anything. However, once he opened his mouth, it became very interesting. I killed father and mother. Ao Zhengquang only felt that he was gradually becoming confused, as if he was in a dream and returned to the original scene. However, the person in front of him was Ao Lingxiao, and he was extremely pleased with himself. But so what? Ao Lingxiao, do you think that you're amazing just because you've won the favor of our parents? I want to steal everything from you so that you will never be able to shine again. I want you to fall into the dust and become an existence that others will despise forever. At the same time, Ao Lingxiao had another round of complaints. I don't understand why you would do such a thing. Father and mother have treated you so well, but you're worse than a beast. Other than the D family and the Lin family, no one present believed that the Truth Pill Association was real. However, after hearing Ao Zhengquang's first sentence, everyone's expression changed. All the elders of the Ao clan widened their eyes and looked at the malevolent Ao Zhengquang in front of them in disbelief. How strange was this kind of patriarch to them? When he spoke, his expression was excited and ferocious. It was definitely not a pretense. Contrasting with Ao Lingxiao's innocent expression, everyone felt a huge impact in their hearts. How could this be? All this time, we really misunderstood. Before this, he really didn't know about this. In the past, he didn't have any impression of the Ao family. He only heard about it after such a tragedy happened in the Ao family. At that time, he was extremely disdainful. He didn't expect that the initiator of all this was the Jun family. In order to strengthen the family, they used some special methods. He could understand, but these methods were too shocking. Chapter 5483. Jun Lingxuan couldn't help but be dumbfounded after seeing the situation. He didn't expect the effect of the truth pill to be so terrifying. Ao Zhengquang couldn't control himself at all and blurted out these words in front of everyone. Most importantly, it was one thing for him to get himself into the water, but he had to drag him in as well. Pa! Jun Lingxuan directly slapped Ao Zhengquang's face. If you dare to talk nonsense again, I won't be polite to you. Ao Zhengquang was stunned by Jun Lingxuan's slap. He stared blankly at Jun Lingxuan, but his expression quickly changed. Young Master Jun, how can you treat me like this? I've been following your orders for everything. Now that I'm in trouble, you're ignoring me. Have you forgotten how much I've done for you over the years? Everyone looked at Jun Lingxuan with complicated gazes. They really didn't expect that he, who was so glamorous, would actually do so many shady things behind the scenes. I didn't expect the young master of the Jun family to be such a person. He's too despicable. For a moment, everyone in the Ao family couldn't control their emotions. Judging from the situation, if the Jun family didn't come up with this idea, Ao Zhengquang wouldn't have done such a thing. In this way, this tragedy could have been avoided. It was only because the Jun family saw the relationship between them and the D family that they chose to use this method to drive a wedge between them. As long as there's a little bit of conscience, it's impossible to think of such a beastly thing. This is too much. Even if he knew that the Jun family was an unshakable behemoth for the Ao family, the great elder still glared at them. His eyes were filled with tears of blood, and he couldn't wait to rush up and fight with them. I already knew that the Jun family was despicable, but now it seems that I still underestimated the extent of their despicableness. This is simply a group of crazy people. The second elder's eyes were burning with anger. This surging anger almost ignited his blood. His eyes quickly became bloodshot, and the veins on his forehead popped out. He never thought that the truth of the matter would be like this. In the past few years, they treated the Jun family as good people and did their best to do things for them. Now that he thought about it, they were really stupid to the extreme. If the old master and his wife knew about this in the underworld, they would definitely be heartbroken. Not only that, but they had also chased Ao Lingxiao out of the clan and had almost killed him back then. Fortunately, everything could still be salvaged. Otherwise, even if they died, they would not have the face to face the old clan head. Jun Hongchang's face was gloomy to the extreme in the face of everyone's accusations. He never thought that Bailey Hongzhuang would actually have such a method to make Ao Zhengquang say such words in front of everyone. It was one thing for him to know about it, but to say it out loud would be too embarrassing. Jun Lingxuan looked at Ao Zhengquang, who kept talking about what he had done. He really wanted to reach out and strangle him. In fact, he had done so. He did not know how to make Ao Zhengquang shut up, so he could only use this method to make him unable to speak again. However, just as Jun Lingxuan was about to make a move, suddenly a chi flashed and forced him back. He raised his head and found that the person who made the move was Di Yujue. Chapter 54-84. Jun Hongchang's face was ashen. Facing Di Yujue's accusation, he could only stare coldly at him. In fact, as long as the people present were not idiots, they would know that everything Ao Zhengquang said was true. Compared to the conspiracy here, Ao Lingxiao was in a much more difficult situation. From the beginning to the end, he was the one who had suffered the most. This was because he had seen his brother kill his parents with his own eyes. However, his brother had framed him for all of this and was even hunted down by the entire clan. If it was an ordinary person, they would have collapsed long ago. Everyone in the Ao family could not help but feel grateful to the D family. Back then, they had alienated the D family, but the D family had not been calculative with them. On the contrary, the D family had helped Ao Lingxiao return. They were really magnanimous. If it had not been for the D family's protection, Ao Lingxiao would have been dead by now. Now, the truth is finally out. Bailey Hongzhuang smiled. During this period of time, she had not spread the news because she knew that there was a spy in the family. She did not want to spread the news and let the other party be prepared. However, she also knew that Ao Lingxiao had been very distressed because of this and did not know how to reveal the truth to the world. At this moment, all of this had finally been achieved. She was happy for Ao Lingxiao. Because from now on, Ao Lingxiao could finally hold his head high and no longer have to endure the hateful gazes of others. Hearing Bailey Hongzhuang's words, Jun Lingxuan turned his hateful gaze towards her. Bailey Hongzhuang, what did you feed Ao Zhengquang? The truth pill. I think I've made it very clear. This is definitely not some truth pill. You must have used some kind of sorcery to make Ao Zhengquang say such delirious words. Jun Lingxuan roared. He knew very well that if this news were to spread, it would have a huge impact on the Jun family. Today, they were here to teach Di Beichen and Bailey Hongzhuang a lesson. Who would have thought that his entire clan would be dragged into this mess? He was absolutely unable to accept such an outcome. Hearing Jun Lingxuan's words, Bailey Hongzhuang chuckled, I'm the Saintess of Light. Are you sure you want to say that? Do you want me to use the power of light to prove that everything I said is true? A confident and perfect smile appeared on her peerlessly exquisite face. Back then in the Immortal Cloud's secret realm, she already knew of this method. Once she made an oath, everyone would naturally believe her. Jun Lingxuan naturally thought of this as well. His face immediately turned red, turning into the color of pig liver. Since you're the Saintess of the Light now, who knows if you have other methods? Xiao Shou said coldly. She was unable to accept the sudden change in the situation. But no matter what, she was not willing to let Bailey Hongzhuang continue to be so arrogant. If you don't believe me, you can try. Bailey Hongzhuang held up the white porcelain bottle in her hand and looked at Xiao Shou with a smile that did not look like a smile. Xiao Shou was slightly startled and immediately fell into silence. After seeing Ao Zhengquang take the pill, how could she still dare to take the pill? If she were to accidentally say something that she should not say, she would be done for. She did not want to be a disgrace like Ao Zhengquang. However, Xiao Shou's retreat seemed to have a deeper meaning in everyone's eyes. Chapter 5485. Jun Hongcheng and Xiao Yanlong looked at each other. Both of their faces were gloomy. They did not expect the situation to develop in this direction. This was originally a matter without any evidence, but it had become irrefutable evidence. During this period of time, the more they said, the more mistakes they would make. It was better to just remain silent. At the very least, it was impossible for them to make a comeback at this point. Jun Hongcheng quietly glanced around. A plan was already forming in his mind. He could not let this news spread and affect the family's reputation, so the only way was to kill all the people who could spread the news. Although the Di family and the Lin family had many people here today, it seemed that their numbers were still not as many as theirs. If they really fought, as long as they could get rid of Di Yujue and Lin Wenlan, the others would not be a concern. As for the Ao family, it was just a small family. They could just kill it directly. At this point, the Ao family was doomed. They could not use them. Instead of letting them rely on the Di family, it was better to get rid of them completely and save them the trouble. After Ao Zhengquang spilled out all the beans that had happened at that time, his eyes suddenly regained clarity. Only then did he clearly see the environment in front of him. As his memory gradually recovered, Ao Zhengquang realized that he was in such an environment. Young Master Jun, what happened? Ao Zhengquang could not help but ask. However, the only answer he got was Jun Lingxuan's cold and murderous gaze. If he could, he really wanted to kill this guy who could not do anything but ruin everything. Then, he would not be in such an awkward situation now. Noticing Jun Lingxuan's terrifying gaze, Ao Zhengquang's body trembled slightly. He then looked around. However, when he noticed that everyone in the Ao family was glaring at him, he had a bad feeling in his heart. His body could not help but tremble. His scalp was numb. He did not dare to imagine what had just happened. Just as Ao Zhengquang regained his consciousness, Ao Lingxiao also regained his consciousness. He looked nervously at Bailey Hongzhuang and Di Beichen. He looked a little confused, not knowing what had just happened. Beichen, what did I just say? A warm smile appeared on Di Beichen's face. You can ask your family elders. Hearing this, Ao Lingxiao was slightly stunned, and the confusion on his face became even more intense. He turned his head to look at the various elders. He originally thought that he would still see their gazes filled with disgust, but he did not expect to see tears in their eyes as they looked at him with extreme guilt. Young master, it's all because of our foolishness. The great elder lamented, tears already flowing down from the corners of his eyes. The elders rushed to Ao Lingxiao's side almost immediately. As elders, they felt extremely guilty in their hearts at this moment. I didn't expect us to be so muddle-headed. We actually wronged you like this. Fortunately, you were able to return safely. Otherwise, it would be useless even if we were to die to atone for our sins. The second elder held Ao Lingxiao's hands and carefully sized him up. Look, you have lost so much weight compared to before. Fortunately, you came back safely and gave us a chance to make up for it. Chapter 5486. Looking at the elders swarming up and listening to their words full of concern, Ao Lingxiao was a little stunned. He still didn't understand why the elders' attitudes changed so much in such a short time. Was the effect of the truth pill really so powerful? However, this long-awaited warmth really made him feel incomparably happy. In the beginning, the elders treated him so lovingly. However, after that incident, their attitudes completely changed. All these years, he had been hiding everywhere and living a miserable life. This kind of warmth was what he longed for the most. Compared to Ao Lingxiao's joy at the moment, Ao Zhengquang's face was extremely pale. Even if he didn't know what he had just said, he could guess a little from everyone's reaction. When he thought of this, he couldn't help but feel scared. The crime of killing his parents was not something he could bear. In this way, his life was completely over. Young master, we wronged you. We are really sorry. What happened back then was too sudden. It was not your fault. Elders, you don't have to take it to heart. Ao Lingxiao's face bloomed with a bright smile for the first time. Ever since that incident, he had never been so relieved. For him, as long as he could prove everything, it was enough. He didn't resent any of the elders because he understood that the elders wanted to avenge their parents. However, in the face of Ao Lingxiao's generosity, the elders were even more ashamed. That's right. How could they forget that the young master was such a kind-hearted person? However, they were obsessed and believed that he would do such a thing. The third elder and the other elders who had a good relationship with Ao Zhengquang also changed their stance at this moment. In the face of major issues, they also had their own judgment. What's more, Ao Zhengquang obviously couldn't make a comeback this time. If they didn't change their stance, it was tantamount to courting death. The eldest young master has been clamoring to be punished by the family law. Now, the one who really needs to be punished by the family law is you. The third elder looked at Ao Zhengquang angrily. His face was full of righteousness as if he wasn't the one who colluded with Ao Zhengquang before. Killing one's parents and framing others. Such crimes are intolerable. They must be punished according to the family rules. The great elder's face also became cold. Even if Ao Zhengquang was the young master of the family, after doing such a thing, he must be killed as a warning to others. Ao Lingxiao didn't say anything. From the day Ao Zhengquang killed his parents, the relationship between them had already been broken. He was no longer his brother. Noticing that everyone was itching to peel off his skin and pull out his tendons, Ao Zhengquang's face was also overwhelmed with shock. He hurriedly knelt in front of Jun Lingxuan and said nervously, "Young Master Jun, you must save me. I don't want to die, please save me." However, Jun Lingxuan only glanced at Ao Zhengquang coldly and lifted his leg to kick him away. "You damned bastard, get the hell away from me." Jun Lingxuan didn't want to bother with such an idiot. He really didn't understand why he asked him for help in the first place. Ao Zhengquang's face turned pale and cold sweat dripped down. The clothes on his back were instantly soaked with cold sweat. Despair and fear shrouded him, causing him to tremble uncontrollably. Chapter 5487. If what Ao Zhengquang said before made people doubt whether this pill had other effects, then at this moment, Ao Zhengquang was completely awake and said such words. Everything was obvious. Jun Lingxuan was even more furious. He couldn't hold back the anger in his heart. His figure flew out and kicked Ao Zhengquang's body. Bang! This kick seemed to have used all of his strength and mercilessly crushed Ao Zhengquang's chest. Pooh! Ao Zhengquang spat out a mouthful of blood, dyeing the clothes on his chest red. However, Jun Lingxuan did not stop there. He had never been humiliated like this, but because of Ao Zhengquang, this idiot, he had to bear all of this. At this moment, Ao Zhengquang was like a breakthrough point. Only by killing him could he vent the anger in his heart. At this moment, Du Jue did not stop it because everything had been revealed. The result of Ao Zhengquang was inevitable. The people of the Ao family wanted to stop all of this. After all, Ao Zhengquang was a member of the Ao family. They should be the ones to punish him. However, all of this happened too fast. They did not even have the chance to stop it. In just a few breaths, Ao Zhengquang was no longer breathing. Before dying, Ao Zhengquang still stared at Jun Lingxuan in disbelief. Obviously, he did not expect that the person who killed him in the end would be Jun Lingxuan. Ao Lingxiao looked at the corpse on the ground with a complicated expression. Ao Zhengquang had taken the wrong path, so he ended up like this. Quietly, the people of the Ao family who were very close to the Jun family had unknowingly leaned towards the D family. Now that they knew everything, they naturally could not rely on the Jun family anymore. Such a hateful family made them feel extremely disgusted. Du Jue glanced indifferently and his gaze fell on Jun Hongqing again. Now that the matter of the Ao family has been settled, it's time to settle the grudge between us. Jun Hongqing chuckled. The enmity between us has been going on for a long time. I wonder how you plan to settle it with me. Xiao Yanlong's expression changed a little. He originally thought that Du Jue had come today to protect the safety of Di Beichen and the others. But from his words, why did he feel that Du Jue wanted to take advantage of today to have a good fight with them? All these years, I've been looking for the culprit who attacked Beichen. Back then, you should have already heard me say that as long as I find the person who did this to Beichen, I will make him suffer a fate worse than death. Du Jue's eyes were sinister and vicious as he stared at Jun Hongqing. An endless murderous aura spread out. Because of Beichen's disappearance, his family had been sad for so many years. Now that he had finally found the culprit, he must make Jun Hongqing suffer a fate worse than death. So what? Jun Hongqing asked. Could it be that you finally found the culprit? That's right. Du Jue nodded. This person, is you. Du Jue's gaze was as sharp as a blade, and the cold light that flashed through his eyes caused one to shudder. His bloodthirsty killing intent spread out, and the surrounding temperature seemed to be affected by it, becoming icy cold. As soon as these words came out, everyone's shocked eyes fell on Jun Hongqing again. They really did not expect that the Jun family not only attacked the Ao family, but also did something so excessive to the D family. Chapter 5488. After hearing this news, Xiao Yanlong also looked at Jun Hongcheng. He had suddenly received too much news today. Even he could not help but feel shocked. However, he wasn't too surprised by this. After such a thing happened in the D family, he and Di Yujue had such a guess. Because of the D family's problems, the happiest people were the Jun family. Over the years, he also knew that Di Yujue had been looking for evidence, but he did not find anything. He did not expect that Di Yujue would have evidence now. It was probably solid evidence. Xiao Sou was also dumbfounded. She never thought that Di Beichen's disappearance was related to the Jun family. Jun Lingxuan had never mentioned this to her. If Di Beichen had not disappeared, then she would have been Di Beichen's fiancée now. Bailey Hongzhuang would not have come to the upper realm. Perhaps everything would have been better. For a moment, Xiao Sou's mood became very complicated. The things that the Jun family had done were indeed somewhat difficult to accept. Jun Hongcheng looked coldly at Di Yujue. If you don't have evidence, don't talk nonsense. For a shameless person like you, if you don't have evidence, you will definitely not admit it. However, fortunately, I have evidence. Hearing this, Jun Hongcheng was slightly stunned. He already had an ominous feeling in his mind. In fact, after seeing Di Yujue and the others come here today, he felt that something was wrong. Logically speaking, in this kind of situation, Di Yujue would definitely not come here personally. Now that he heard Di Yujue's words, he was afraid that Dai Haoen's matter had been discovered. Bring Haoen here. Di Yujue ordered. The Di family's cultivators quickly brought Dai Haoen's figure forward. At this moment, Dai Haoen was no longer in high spirits. After he said everything, it was as if he had lost his soul. He became numb and sluggish. This was because he knew very well that after today, he was afraid that there would be no way for him to survive. Everything that had happened before would turn into bubbles. He was no longer a member of the Di family, and he could not return to the Jun family. The Jun family would not accept a failure like him, and the Di family would not treat him as a family member. Even if he had been mentally prepared for all these years to be discovered, when all this really happened, he still collapsed and could not help but break down and lose himself. Jun Lingxuan's eyes widened when he saw Di Haoen. Then, his face turned ugly. Father, it seems that they are going to beat us at our own game. Jun Lingxuan's face was filled with anxiety. The other party obviously knew about their plan, but they still dared to come here today. They were probably well prepared. The mantis stalks the cicada, unaware of the oriole behind. No matter how bad the situation was before, at least he did not feel that his safety was threatened. However, at this moment, he suddenly felt that everything was not so simple. If the Di family came with the plan to catch them all in one fell swoop, then it would not be easy for them to escape. Jun Hongcheng naturally thought of this and comforted him, "Don't worry. No matter what, Father will take you away." Jun Lingxuan nodded slightly. He believed in his father's strength. Chapter 5489. Before Di Beichen returned to the family, Dai Haoen was a very outstanding child, second only to Di Xiaofeng. When he went out to train, he often saw Dai Haoen. His performance was quite outstanding, and it was said that he was very likely to become the successor of the Di family. But at this moment, he actually appeared in front of them with such an appearance. What was going on? Yes, it's him. Xiao Sou nodded slightly. He is the son of the second elder. Could it be that he colluded with the Jun family? Why? Even if she was now engaged to Jun Lingxuan and was close to the Jun family, she still couldn't help but have doubts in her heart. After all, she was very familiar with the Di family and knew the Di family's situation very well. As smart as Xiao Yanlong was, he had already guessed the whole story. However, even he didn't think that the Jun family would set up so many chess pieces in the D family. He was inexplicably afraid. Was it really a good thing to be on good terms with such a Jun family? He didn't know if the Jun family had used the same method to deal with them when they weren't close to the Jun family. I already knew that you were despicable, but I really didn't think that you would be despicable to this extent. He is a member of your Jun family, but he was planted in our family from the moment he was born. This kind of method and courage is really surprising. Du Jue shook his head and sighed. Even now, he still couldn't believe what Jun Hongcheng had done. Even if the Jun family had been fighting with them for so many years, only Jun Hongcheng was so despicable. In the past, there was no small friction between the two sides, but it was only on the surface. But now, it was completely a conspiracy. Jun Hongcheng looked at Daiheoan indifferently, and Daiheoan lowered his head. Although he had been working for the Jun family all these years, he had rarely seen Jun Hongcheng. Now that the matter had been exposed, he no longer had the face to face Jun Hongcheng. Looking at Daiheoan's guilty look, Jun Hongcheng understood that he had probably confessed everything. However, Daiheoan was nothing more than a chess piece to him. There was no need to care about him at all. Du Jue, I don't know what nonsense you're talking about. Jun Hongcheng looked at his hands with a calm and indifferent expression. You casually pulled out a person from your family and said that he was someone I planted in your family. Isn't that too laughable? Ridiculous? Du Jue sneered, it is indeed laughable. This child has provided you with so much information for so many years, and now you treat him like this. It is too disappointing. He's not even a member of our clan. Naturally, I don't need to care. That's right. This guy is obviously a member of your D family. Now, in order to splash dirty water on us, you're even willing to do such a thing. You're the despicable ones. After Jun Lingxuan understood his father's thoughts, he was the first to speak up. Previously, the matter with the AO family had already embarrassed them enough. If this matter was brought up now, they could forget about getting off the stage. In the blink of an eye, he noticed that Xiao Sou's gaze towards him had become somewhat complicated. Suddenly, his mood became even more depressed. Daiheoan obviously didn't expect the Jun family to have such an attitude. Suddenly, his entire heart turned cold. Chapter 5490. Hearing Du Jue's words, Jun Hongcheng's expression changed. Daiheoan had always been the best move he had made. He didn't expect that everything would be exposed before it was time to end the game. Speaking of which, if it wasn't for the heavens, your scheme might have really succeeded. Du Jue's face was gloomy. Even he didn't expect this move. All these years, Daiheoan's performance had always been excellent. He had never found any clues. In addition, he knew too well that the second elder was wholeheartedly thinking for the family. It was impossible for him to betray the family. Therefore, he had never paid attention to this point. Even if he knew that there must be a spy in the family, he had always been investigating from other aspects. He had ignored these people who he thought were trustworthy. After hearing Du Jue's words, Jun Hongcheng thought for a moment. However, he was too lazy to hide it. Yes, he is indeed a chess piece that I placed in your family. So what? Jun Hongcheng's expression was calm. He didn't feel ashamed at all. Could it be that you didn't place someone in our family? As opponents for many years, other than the situation of their own family, they also knew the situation of their opponents like the back of their hands. Seeing Jun Hongcheng admit it so calmly, Du Jue's expression became more and more gloomy. This guy was really incurable. No matter if it was the cultivators of the Xiao family or the AO family, they were extremely shocked when they heard this news. Sending people to investigate the situation of the opponent was something that every family would do. However, they didn't expect that the Jun family would be able to hide this spy so deeply. Daehaeon was previously a figure second only to Daehaeon in the D family. Because they already knew that Daehaeon would be the young master of the Lin family, everyone paid close attention to Daehaeon. However, after D Baechan appeared, Daehaeon's halo disappeared. It was fate. The heavens didn't intend to let the D family fall into a desperate situation. Therefore, D Baechan came back at such a crucial time. Otherwise, if he came back later, everything would be troublesome. All these years, the competition between our two families would always result in the fall of many outstanding disciples. In comparison, I only used one person to achieve this step. Why can't I? Jun Hongcheng's chin was slightly raised. His serious face was now full of dignity. However, when he looked at Daehaeon, he revealed a trace of disdain. However, this guy was still useless. He didn't really complete the plan. Looking at Jun Hongcheng's cold appearance, Bailey Hongzhuang couldn't help but frown. This guy is really cold-blooded and heartless. No matter what, Daehaeon had done so many things for the Jun family. If it was someone with a conscience, they definitely wouldn't use the word useless to describe him. Master, I think that this Jun Hongcheng is even more despicable than Jun Lingxuan. He is the one who really treats human lives like grass. Xiao He couldn't hide the disgust on her face. This guy clearly did all kinds of bad things, but he still acted as if it was natural. He was simply shameless. I already knew this when I found out about Baechan. Bailey Hongzhuang's eyes were cold and gloomy. Jun Hongcheng was a person who was as malicious as a poisonous snake. People couldn't help but be wary of him. Chapter 5491. Bai Li Yan Che's voice was full of regret. Although one's birth was not a choice, why should he risk his life for such a family? Compared to Daehaeon, who had been suffering all these years, the Jun family did not care about his life at all. From the beginning to the end, he was just a pawn of the Jun family. If it worked, it would be good. If it didn't, they would just abandon him. If it were him, he would not care about such a family at all. Such a cold-blooded and heartless family, even if he gave up his life, he would not get a word of regret. I also feel bad for him, Shangguaning sighed. Shangguan Yingying sighed. However, he did this to let his mother live. Otherwise, I don't think Haoan would be so conflicted. Hearing this, Bailey Hongzhuang nodded slightly. From Daehaeon's previous expression, it could be seen that if the Jun family did not threaten him, his heart would have been with the D family long ago, and he would not risk his life for the Jun family. When Daehaeon heard Jun Hongcheng say that about him, his face gradually turned red. His clenched fists revealed the anger in his heart. In fact, he had always understood that he was just a pawn with value. However, he still had a glimmer of hope, and thought that the family treated him well. Now it seemed that he had thought too well of everything. The truth was not so at all. He could not help but think of the warmth he felt in the D family all these years. He also hated himself to the core. Don't make excuses for your despicable actions. Du Jue didn't care about this at all. Our two sides have indeed clashed many times over the years, but only a despicable person like you would make use of a child in swaddling clothes. Yes, many cultivators in our family have died, but everyone did it voluntarily for the family. We have never been forced. The great elder also had a serious face. Voluntary and forced were two completely different situations. In the family, there would always be people who were willing to sacrifice themselves for the family. This was the cohesion and unity of the family. This was because only when the clan was strong could the clan's disciples live a better life. If everyone had been misled by Jun Hongcheng's words before, they now understood the essential difference between the two after hearing Du Jue's words. At least, the D family still had a choice. Xiao Sudong looked at Daiheoan, whose face was filled with pain. His expression was also somewhat complicated. He didn't know why, but after hearing the conversation between the two patriarchs, he couldn't help but sympathize with this guy. Father, this Daiheoan is rather pitiful. He was glad that he was the son of the patriarch, so he didn't have to bear all this. Xiao Yanlong's eyes were deep. He had always known that Jun Hongcheng was a person who would do anything to achieve his goals. Moreover, he had also treated Jun Hongcheng as an enemy back then. The reason why they had never cooperated with the Jun family was because their relationship with the D family was very stable. On the other hand, they did not trust the Jun family's character. The D family had always been magnanimous. As long as they became allies, they could completely trust them. However, when facing the Jun family, they did not know when they would be stabbed. Now that he had seen this scene, his feelings were even more obvious. Chapter 5492. Di Yujue, you've been acting like a gentleman all these years. Don't you feel tired at all? Jun Hongcheng did not care about Di Yujue's sanctimonious act at all. He did not think that there was anything wrong with his way of doing things. As long as he could maximize the family's benefits, it was worth it. He had only used Daiheoan alone to solve so many problems for them. If it had not been for Di Baichen's sudden return, their entire plan would have been a success. That's just what you think. Di Yujue's expression suddenly turned serious. He stared at Jun Hongcheng with a gaze that brooked no refusal. Tell me, where is the real Daiheoan? Heh. Jun Hongcheng chuckled. The corners of his lips curled into a roguish arc. Back then, it was a mistake for Di Baichen to have the opportunity to return. Do you think I'll keep making the same mistake? As soon as he said this, the hearts of the Di family sank. The anger in their eyes burned brighter. Even though they had already guessed that this would be the outcome, they could not help but feel sorry for the second elder when they found out about it. Back then, the second elder's wife had passed away in order to give birth to this child. Who would have thought that the child she had exchanged her life for would be taken by the Jun family? As soon as they thought of this, they could not help but feel sad. You're worse than a beast. The great elder could not hide his anger. His eyes were bloodshot. Jun Hongcheng was the main culprit in all of this. Do I need to be merciful to you? Jun Hongcheng snorted coldly. Great Elder Di, you're being too serious. A cruel light flashed across his deep eyes. He could not wait to make the entire Di family disappear from the upper realm. How could he possibly be merciful to them? Jun Hongcheng, you bastard. I'm going to kill you. When the second elder arrived at the AO family, he happened to hear Jun Hongcheng's words. His blood immediately rushed to his head. His face turned red in an instant. His angry eyes were filled with endless killing intent. It was as if he wanted to kill Jun Hongcheng. He did not even see his son being replaced by the Jun family. Thinking of this, he felt so heartbroken that he could not breathe. Even if the family had asked him to stay in the family to rest, he would not have been satisfied if he did not come today. In the past, he only had one goal, and that was to take care of the family's affairs. That was enough. And now, he only had one goal, and that was to avenge his son. Only by killing this guy could he live. Everyone was shocked and they saw the second elder. However, they understood after thinking about it for a while. At this time, even if the family wanted to stop him, it was unlikely that they would be able to. You're overestimating yourself. Seeing that the second elder was rushing towards him, Jun Hongcheng snorted coldly. He casually attacked the second elder with a tyrannical force. However, before the attack could reach him, Di Yujue blocked it with a wave of his hand. Second elder, don't be rash. Du Jue held the second elder back. Don't worry. Since we're here today, we'll definitely avenge Hao Pen. The second elder's eyes were bloodshot. He looked like he had gone mad. Tears overflowed in an instant. Family head, for all that I've done for my family all these years, you must help me avenge my son. With his strength, it was impossible for him to deal with Jun Hongcheng. Chapter 5493. Second Elder, I will definitely do so. Du Jue nodded seriously. As the head of the family, he had the responsibility to protect his family. Jun Hongcheng had attacked his family again and again. He would definitely make the other party pay the price in blood. Facing the second elder like this, he could empathize with him. All these years, because of Beichen's disappearance, he had been immersed in pain and had long since made this assertion. Once he found out who had attacked Beichen, no matter who it was, he would definitely take the other party's life. And now, everything was confirmed. After receiving Du Jue's affirmation, the second elder became even more excited and nodded repeatedly. Jun Hongcheng, we've been fighting for so many years. It's time to put an end to it. Du Jue's murderous intent suddenly exploded. His resolute voice was filled with determination. Even the people around could feel the layer of murderous intent. Between us, only blood can wash away everything. The grudges of many years had long been indistinguishable. And the only result was that they would fight to the death. Seeing that Du Jue was ready to fight to the death with him, Jun Hongcheng's eyes flashed. He subconsciously looked at Xiao Yanlong. It wasn't that he hadn't considered fighting the D family head-on. The reason why both sides had never faced each other head-on was because once they did, no matter who won or lost, it would be a huge loss. It would be the most troublesome if other forces were to reap the benefits. However, since Du Jue had taken the initiative to start a fight, he wasn't afraid. What he was most worried about now was that Lin Wenlan and the Lin family's cultivators were also here. If Xiao Yanlong didn't help him, then he would definitely lose today. Therefore, all of this depended on Xiao Yanlong's decision. When Xiao Yanlong saw the tense atmosphere between the two sides, he also hesitated. The situation before him was very clear. If he didn't do anything, the Jun family would definitely lose. Although it wasn't his intention to ally with the Jun family in the beginning, he had no other choice now that things had come to this. It was impossible for the D family to restore their previous relationship with them. Once something happened to the Jun family, their situation would become very unfavorable. Therefore, even if he felt that the Jun family was not that reliable, he had no other choice. Du Jue didn't give Jun Hongcheng any chance to escape. The moment he finished speaking, he moved and directly attacked Jun Hongcheng. Daring to make a move on his son, he wanted this guy to pay with his life. Seeing Du Jue make a move, Jun Hongcheng did not dare to underestimate him. He was well aware of how powerful Du Jue was. Even if it was him, he had to be careful when dealing with him. After seeing Du Jue make his move, Lin Wenlan immediately followed up with an attack. This damned bastard almost caused his grandson to never come back. He wanted this bastard to die. Brother Xiao, help me. Jun Hongcheng saw Lin Wenlan also make a move and quickly called out. With his strength alone, it was already extremely difficult to deal with Du Jue. Once Lin Wenlan joined in, he would have no chance of winning. Hearing Jun Hongcheng's call, Xiao Yanlong no longer hesitated. His figure flashed and also joined the battle. Du Jue only glanced at Xiao Yanlong indifferently. His voice was filled with ridicule. I didn't expect that there would be a day when we would fight to the death. Xiao Yanlong only remained silent. He also didn't expect this situation. Chapter 54-94. The sigh only lasted for a moment. In the next second, both sides' gazes became fierce and merciless. Surging and turbulent origin energy surged out. Feeling the vast aura, the faces of the younger generation present were filled with horror. This was the battle strength of the Patriarch. Just this aura alone was enough to make them unable to have any thoughts of resistance. They subconsciously wanted to retreat. After noticing this scene, the great elder of the AO clan hurriedly said, "Everyone, retreat." This kind of battle was not something that the disciples of the clan could get close to. Even if they were affected by the aftermath of this energy, they would still be seriously injured. However, looking at the situation of the clan, he could not help but sigh. After the battle between the four patriarchs, the destructive power was extremely terrifying. Perhaps after this battle, the AO clan's mansion would be completely destroyed. Even so, he wasn't too sad because the young master had returned. This allowed them to finally know everything that had happened back then. They would no longer be kept in the dark like fools. The family mansion could be rebuilt, but all of this could not be changed. Dijujue's aura was like a rainbow. With a wave of his hand, a golden light appeared in his hand. With a domineering and sharp aura, it attacked Jun Hongcheng. Seeing this, Jun Hongcheng's gaze turned cold. His fire attribute power also met the attack. When the golden light and the fiery red light collided, everyone could only feel an extremely terrifying force colliding with a loud bang. The aura that rippled out caused the ground to crack inch by inch. However, the battle between the two did not stop at all because of this palm strike. The two figures were as fast as a whirlwind. Their movements were as fast as lightning. Everyone could only hear the explosion of the collision of forces, but they could not see the two's movements at all. However, from the terrifying situation of the battle, they could feel the hatred in their hearts towards each other. The determination to not stop until one of them died shocked everyone. Uncle's strength is so strong. Xiren's face was filled with emotion. This was definitely the strongest battle he had seen since coming to the upper realm. This terrifying and shocking aura made him understand the strength of a true powerhouse. Thinking back to the time when his father insisted that he must go to Penglai Island to have a look, it must be because he knew too well what a true expert looked like. In comparison, the strength of the lower realm was too weak. The difference between the two was like the difference between clouds and mud. When Xiren was not the only one who was shocked. Bailey Hongzhuang and the others were equally shocked. This was a true powerhouse. Beichen, it's time for us to move. Di Xiaofeng's eyes were deep as he locked onto Jun Lingxuan. The battle between the seniors had already begun, so the juniors naturally couldn't be at a disadvantage. They weren't a match for Jun Hongcheng, but they were confident that they could deal with Jun Lingxuan. Di Beichen listened to the strong and urgent words, and the corners of his lips curled into a cold and charming arc. That's right. Jun Lingxuan was originally paying attention to the battle between Jun Hongcheng and Di Xiaofeng, but he suddenly felt two cold gazes. He turned his head and found Di Xiaofeng and Di Xiaofeng staring at him with burning battle intent in their eyes. Before he could react, the two of them had already rushed over. Attack! At Di Beichen's command, the Di family members all took out their weapons and rushed towards the Jun family cultivators. Chapter 54-95. Di Xiaofeng also ordered the cultivators of the Lin family to move out. It would be best if they could take this opportunity to deal a heavy blow to the Jun family and the Xiao family. Even if it was only a portion of the other side's cultivators, as long as they could annihilate these people, the Jun family and the Xiao family would definitely suffer heavy losses. Naturally, all the cultivators were aware of this as well. All of them clamored as they rushed over. Kill them. Kill, kill, kill. After seeing this scene, Ao Ling Xiao also turned his head to look at the Great Elder, his eyes flashing with hatred. Great Elder, the Jun family harmed my parents, we can't let them off. Second young master, you are the head of the Ao family, we will all listen to your orders. The Great Elder's expression was firm, and he was also full of resentment towards the Ao family. Attack! Kill them! Ao Ling Xiao gritted his teeth as he looked at the people of the Jun family, and his mind kept recalling everything that happened when his parents were still alive. It was all because of these hateful people that his family was destroyed, and he wanted them to pay with their blood. Hearing Ao Ling Xiao's command, the cultivators of the Ao family also rushed up crazily. Today's matter had given them too much shock. For so many years, they had been kept in the dark, and they were only chess pieces in the eyes of the Jun family. Even if they were just a small family, and their strength was insignificant compared to the Jun family, this didn't mean that they didn't have dignity. Even if they died, they had to die with dignity. In a moment, the cultivators of the 5 families all collided, and at a glance, there were battlefields everywhere. The sounds of battle rose and fell, and the entire sky was filled with the terrifying sounds of collision. Jun Lingxuan was dealt with by Di Beichen, and Bailey Hongzhuang faced Xiao Sou. Since she came to the upper realm, the game between the two sides had never stopped. Now that Xiao Sou had completely lost to her, it was time to end it today. After Xiao Sou saw Bailey Hongzhuang, she couldn't help but feel a trace of fear in her heart. She was very clear that Bailey Hongzhuang was stronger than her, and she couldn't win by herself. Seeing this, Xiao Sudong also came to Xiao Sou's side, and looked at Bailey Hongzhuang as if he was facing a great enemy. Sudong, quickly come and help me. Seeing this scene, Bailey Hongzhuang chuckled, Xiao Sou, weren't you clamoring to kill me today? Why are you so scared now? After a moment of silence, Xiao Sudong and Xiao Sudong, Sudong, Sudong bang. Sudong. Sudong as Sudong. Sudong. Sudong, let's go together. Xiao Sou had a serious expression on her face. Now that both sides were fighting, it seemed that they would not stop until one of them was dead. They did not have any helpers, but as long as they could take advantage of this opportunity to kill Bailey Hongzhuang, it was undoubtedly excellent. Okay. Xiao Sudong nodded solemnly and immediately attacked together with Xiao Sou. Facing Di Beichen and his brother, Jun Lingxuan also panicked. He didn't have the confidence to win against Di Beichen, let alone 2 people. Great Elder. Chapter 5496. It was precisely because of this that as soon as he saw Di Beichen appear, Jun Xianxiao immediately appeared. His slightly turbid eyes were filled with murderous intent. He wanted to kill Di Yujua's 2 sons and end the Di family's bloodline. It was a huge mistake to let Di Beichen live. However, as long as he killed Di Beichen now, he would make up for his mistake. Boy, this day next year will be the day you die. Jun Xuanxiao's aura burst out. His body was as fast as lightning. He wanted to take Di Beichen's life with one move. Old man, you're so shameless. Di Xiaofeng could not help but feel anxious. Jun Xuanxiao's strength was second only to Jun Hongcheng's. They had no power to resist him. In Jun Ling Sun's eyes, there was a trace of a victorious smile. This Di Beichen should have died long ago. However, just as Jun Xuanxiao's attack was about to land on Di Beichen, a hand suddenly appeared out of thin air and blocked Jun Xuanxiao's attack. Jun Xianxiao, I haven't seen you in a while. You're still so shameless. The person who spoke was the great elder of the Di family, Di Chuyuan. Jun Xuanxiao's expression turned ugly when he saw that Di Chuyuan had blocked his sure-kill attack. If Di Chuyuan wasn't here right now, then his plan would have succeeded. I don't need to care about this when I'm dealing with you. I'll take your life. Di Chuyuan snorted coldly. He rushed out and attacked Jun Xianxiao. This hateful old man. They had been fighting for so many years. He wanted to end it all today. After Di Chuyuan blocked Jun Xianxiao, Di Beichen attacked Jun Lingxuan again. Let's see who can help you now. The dark power swept out, and the strange power lingered. Di Beichen had already fought with it for the first time. Bang! Jun Lingxuan was kicked away by Di Beichen. The dark power was like maggots that constantly rushed into Jun Lingxuan's body and eroded it. Feeling this, Jun Lingxuan's expression became extremely ugly. The dark power was undoubtedly the most difficult to deal with among the many elemental powers. The most difficult thing to deal with was its erosive effect. Only the light power could stop all this. He subconsciously looked at Xiao Sou. He found that even if Xiao Sou and Xiao Sudong joined forces, they were still suppressed by Beili Hongzhuang. Their situation was not much better than the others. Jun Cheng and Di Beichen fought. Many years ago, they had had a battle. But their strength was not much difference between them. And Di was with him. When they fought today, the situation did not change much. As the patriarchs, they had never slacked off in their cultivation. In addition, the two of them were once famous geniuses. Who would have thought that after so many years, their strength would still be evenly matched? Only Jun Hongcheng knew that Di Yujue's talent was stronger than his. Over the years, Di Yujue had put a lot of energy into searching for Di Beichen. Jun Hongcheng, on the other hand, had put all his energy into cultivation. Even so, his strength was still no different from Di Yujue's. If Di Beichen had not gone missing, Jun Hongcheng would not be a match for Di Yujue now. Chapter 5497. Di Yujue, with your strength, it's not enough to kill me today. Jun Hongcheng looked coldly at Di Yujue. The number of people on both sides was about the same. However, with the addition of the cultivators from the AO family, he already felt that the situation was quite unfavorable for them. Even though they had a lot of people on this trip, it was still limited. On the contrary, this was the territory of the AO family. The cultivators of the AO family were almost all out. Even if their strength did not pose a threat to the powerhouses of the family, it would still have a big impact on the younger generation of cultivators. It was fine for a short period of time. However, once the time passed, their disadvantage would be revealed. He was not afraid of a real fight between the two sides. However, the place they were in now was really unfavorable for them. Even if I can't kill you in a short period of time, when all of your cultivators fall one by one, you will die by my hands. Di Yujue sneered. What makes you so sure that it will be the cultivators of our family that fall? Jun Hongcheng's face was full of mockery. You are getting more and more arrogant nowadays. Open your dog eyes and see the situation clearly. Looking at the confidence on Di Yujue's face, Jun Hongcheng also cursed in his heart. Could it be that there was something that he did not expect? He shifted his gaze slightly. He did not know when, but a group of cultivators had entered the Di family. This scene was completely out of his expectations. Looking at the situation of the cultivators of the Jun family, his heart could not help but turn cold. The Jun family was not in an advantageous position to begin with. Now that there were more opponents, they were in an absolute disadvantage. At this moment, the ground was full of corpses. There were people from all the big families. However, it was obvious that the cultivators of the Jun family and the Xiao family were the majority. Damn it! Jun Hongqing cursed in his heart. You actually brought so many people. Since I am going to settle the score with you today, of course I can't only bring so few people. Di Yujue's eyes were filled with mockery. The reason why he hadn't allowed all the cultivators to come in together was because he was worried that the Jun family would quickly escape if they knew that the situation was bad. Now that the Jun family had entered the battlefield, it would be impossible for them to escape unscathed. You're becoming more and more despicable. How could Jun Hongqing not know that all of this was Di Yujue's scheme? This is all thanks to you, Di Yujue mocked. Father, save me. Even if Jun Lingxuan gave it his all, he was still no match for Di Beichen. In just a short period of time, he was already covered in wounds. From the determination and murderous intent in Di Beichen's extremely black eyes, he knew that this guy really wanted to kill him today. Hearing Jun Lingxuan's cry for help, Jun Hongqing looked over and found that his son was already covered in wounds. He couldn't help but feel angry. Turning his gaze, he found that Jun Lingxuan was exhausted by Di Chuyuan. At this moment, they were locked in a fierce battle and couldn't spare any time to help Jun Lingxuan. Damn it! Jun Hongqing's eyes flashed with a bloodthirsty light. He didn't want to continue fighting with Di Yujue. No matter what, he couldn't let anything happen to Jun Lingxuan. Di Yujue naturally knew what Jun Hongqing was thinking. How could he let Jun Hongqing have the chance to rescue him? Want to run? No way. Brother Xiao, lend me a hand. Chapter 5498. Xiao Yanlong's figure flew forward and blocked Di Yujue. At the same time, Lin Wenlan's attack had also arrived. Jun Hongqing took the opportunity to escape. Brother Xiao, you only need to help me block for a moment. Hearing this, Xiao Yanlong agreed in a deep voice. Facing Di Yujue and Di Beichen's attacks at the same time was extremely difficult for him. However, in the current situation, no matter how difficult it was, he had to grit his teeth and persevere. Seeing that Jun Hongqing had taken the opportunity to deal with Di Beichen, Di Yujue's attacks on Xiao Yanlong, who was entangling him, became even more vicious. He never showed any mercy to his enemies. Bang! A ferocious punch landed directly on Xiao Yanlong's chest. At the same time, a kick flew out. Following this, his figure shot out explosively and chased after Jun Hongqing. With Jun Hongqing's power, killing Di Beichen would only take an instant. Under Di Yujue's tyrannical metal attribute power, Xiao Yanlong's figure flew back over 1,000 meters in the air. He felt a fishy sweetness in his mouth and spat out a mouthful of blood. Lin Wenlan's attack did not stop because of this. A tyrannical palm struck out once again. From the day they had become enemies, there was no longer any friendship between them. Xiao Yanlong's heart panicked. He ignored his own injuries and immediately charged forward. At this time, if he were to completely endure another attack, it would be over for him. Jun Hongqing had immediately charged towards Jun Lingxuan's position after shaking off Di Yujue. The pressure that erupted from his body fiercely pressed down on Di Beichen, making it extremely difficult for him to even move. Di Beichen was holding the severed passion sword in his hand. As long as he swung his sword, he would be able to take Jun Lingxuan's life. Just as the tip of the sword was a hair's breadth away from Jun Lingxuan, he felt a terrifying pressure enveloping him, causing him to be unable to move. He turned around and realized that it was actually Jun Hongqing. Di Beichen narrowed his eyes. If he missed this opportunity, it would be difficult to kill Jun Lingxuan again. Thinking of this, he used all his strength to move the tip of the sword. Boy, how dare you! Jun Hongqing roared loudly after seeing Di Beichen's actions. Let's see if I dare. Di Beichen's eyes flashed with madness and determination. Jun Hongcheng had made a move on him back then, and now, he would make a move on Jun Lingxuan. Save me. Seeing the tip of the sword getting closer and closer to him, Jun Lingxuan was so scared that tears and snot flew out. He didn't want to die like this. Chi. With Di Beichen's full strength, the tip of the sword finally pierced into Jun Lingxuan's body. Ah, Jun Lingxuan howled like a pig being slaughtered. He felt an intense pain coming from his body, and his entire being was shrouded in despair. Jun Hongcheng saw that Di Beichen actually dared to make a move on Jun Lingxuan in front of him. His eyes instantly turned red, and the veins on his temples bulged. Boy, you're courting death. With Jun Hongcheng's strength, such a long distance was covered in the blink of an eye. A violent force quickly attacked Di Beichen, sending him flying. Di Beichen's body flew backward, and his face turned red. Jun Hongcheng immediately took out a pill and placed it in Jun Lingxuan's mouth. He asked anxiously, Jun Lingxuan, how are you? Jun Lingxuan spat out a mouthful of blood as the sword in his chest was pulled out. He was slightly dispirited. Chapter 5499. Damned kid, I'll take your life first. Jun Hongcheng put down Jun Lingxuan and waved his hand. A flaming palm appeared and headed straight for Di Beichen. Ever since the second elder found out that his son had died at the hands of the Jun family, he had viewed the Jun family as his mortal enemy. He knew that he was no match for Jun Hongcheng, so he did not act rashly. Instead, he quickly killed off the cultivators of the Jun family. These bastards, they all deserved to die. Out of all the elders, the second elder was the craziest. His eyes were bloodshot. The anger in his heart could only be quenched by blood. Seeing that Jun Hongcheng was about to attack his young master, the second elder immediately rushed forward. Young master. The second elder rushed towards Jun Hongcheng. He could not let anything happen to the young master. Seeing that the second elder had suddenly appeared to ruin his plan, Jun Hongcheng's eyes turned cold. He raised his hand and attacked the second elder. You overestimate yourself. Jun Hongcheng used 100% of his strength in this attack. He was most annoyed by this guy's arrogant attitude of wanting to kill him. A piece of trash who had raised someone else's son for so many years should have died long ago. The second elder's abilities were the weakest among all the elders in the Di family. It was because of this that he had been in charge of managing the family's affairs all these years. Therefore, as Jun Hongcheng's attack landed, the second elder felt the shadow of death looming over him. This was the absolute difference in abilities. However, as long as he could buy some time for the young master, it was worth it. However, just as the second elder thought that he was about to lose his life, he realized that the pain he expected did not appear. He turned his head and realized that Daiheoan was standing in front of him. Haoan. The second elder looked at the figure in front of him in shock. His eyes were filled with shock and nervousness. He never thought that Haoan would do this. Daiheoan spat out a mouthful of blood and his body quickly fell to the ground. Damn it! Seeing that Daiheoan was risking his life to save the second elder, Jun Hongcheng's eyes turned even colder. Ever since Daiheoan had tried all sorts of excuses, he knew that this guy would never achieve anything great. Now, he was sacrificing his life to save his opponent. This was the height of stupidity. He deserved to die. Just as Jun Hongcheng was about to kill Di Beichen, Di Yujue had arrived and stopped everything. Jun Hongcheng, you're asking for it. Di Yujue's face was filled with rage. Jun Hongcheng actually wanted to kill Beichen. Jun Hongcheng's eyes were filled with cruel killing intent. He only wanted to kill Di Beichen, but Di Yu did not give Jun Hongcheng the slightest chance. His figure flashed and pulled Di Beichen to the back, out of the range of Jun Hongcheng. Go to hell. Di Yujue threw a punch. The golden light shone brightly like the sun, attracting everyone's attention. The sharp gold power seemed to be able to penetrate everything. It was everywhere and made everyone's heart tremble. However, this attack was not aimed at Jun Hongcheng. Instead, it was aimed at Jun Lingxuan. Jun Lingxuan, who was already seriously injured, felt better after taking the pill. Suddenly, a terrifying force came crashing down on him. His face turned pale immediately. His internal organs seemed to have shifted under the pressure. Blood gushed out of his mouth again. Lingxuan. Chapter 5500. Jun Hongcheng took a quick glance at Jun Lingxuan's condition, and his heart skipped a beat. Oh no! The destructive power of the metal element was extremely shocking. Jun Lingxuan had been stabbed in the heart by Di Beichen earlier. Although it hadn't been pierced, it had still injured his foundation. Even if he had fed him a 9th-grade healing pill, he wouldn't be able to recover in such a short time. Now that he had been attacked like this, his situation could be said to be extremely bad. He glanced at the situation around him. At present, the Jun family was completely at a disadvantage. If this continued, sooner or later, all of them would be left here. And he couldn't let that happen. At the same time, Di Yujue also fed Di Beichen a pill. How are you? Di Beichen shook his head. Father, I'm fine. Fortunately, the second elder had attracted Jun Hongcheng's attention. Otherwise, he would have died just now. When Jun Hongcheng dealt with him, he finally understood how big the gap between the two of them was. Although his injuries were not light, at least it wouldn't endanger his life. At this moment, Jun Hongcheng suddenly carried Jun Lingxuan and rushed outside without hesitation. Everyone, retreat. The loud voice was filled with urgency and tension. Even though he knew that only a small number of cultivators would be able to leave at this moment, Jun Hongcheng didn't care. Because he knew that if they continued to stay, everyone would die here. None of the people who were fighting had thought that Jun Hongcheng would suddenly give such an order. The atmosphere froze for a moment, and it wasn't until everyone came to their senses that it returned to normal. Jun Xianxiao also understood why Jun Hongcheng did this. They had only been fighting for a short time, but the casualties of the Jun family's cultivators were already extremely terrifying. Although this decision was equivalent to giving up on many young disciples, it was already the best result for the current situation. After hearing Jun Hongcheng's decision, Xiao Yanlong's heart also turned cold. If he had known this would happen, he would have left with his family's disciples. Now that they had paid such a high price, and so many clan members had lost their lives, only then did they choose to escape. How many of them could actually escape? Apart from the various elders, it was impossible for ordinary disciples to leave alive. However, at this moment, he had no other choice. Once the Jun family began to evacuate, only death would await him if he did not leave. After Di Yujue knew that Jun Hongcheng was planning to escape, how could he let him leave so easily? In the next second, he quickly chased after him. No matter what, he had to do his best to keep Jun Hongcheng here today. Otherwise, with the extent of this fellow's scourge, he didn't want any danger to come to the clan's disciples. Feeling Di Yujue chasing after him, Jun Hongcheng's heart tightened. He immediately handed Jun Lingxuan over to Jun Xianxiao before he turned around and fled in the other direction. Great Elder, take good care of Ling Sun. Don't let anything happen to him. Jun Hongcheng ordered. Master, I will definitely protect the young master with my life. After noticing that Di Beichen was injured, Bailey Hongzhuang immediately rushed in his direction. However, there were battles everywhere. Even though the distance didn't seem far, it was not easy to rush over. When she noticed that Jun Hongcheng had begun to escape, she subconsciously looked at Xiao Sou and Xiao Sudong. Chapter 5501. At this moment, Bailey Hongzhuang discovered that the two of them were desperately rushing towards Lin Wenlan's direction. Obviously, they also had the intention of retreating and wanted to quickly leave this place. Seeing this, Bailey Hongzhuang's eyes flashed with a trace of unwillingness, but she still quickly rushed towards Di Beichen's direction. What kind of strength did Jun Hongqing have? If he used all his strength, it was easy to guess how much damage he caused to Di Beichen. In fact, from the moment she saw that Di Beichen was injured, her heart was already in a panic. To her, nothing else was important. The most important thing was that the people she cared about were safe and sound. Soon, Bailey Hongzhuang arrived at Di Beichen's side. Looking at the pale and bloodless Di Beichen, her heart suddenly clenched and she quickly took his pulse. Di Beichen, how are you? Looking at Bailey Hongzhuang's nervous expression, Di Beichen knew that his situation had probably frightened Bailey Hongzhuang and quickly comforted her. Don't worry, I'm fine. However, Bailey Hongzhuang did not feel relieved because of this comfort. After carefully taking his pulse, she discovered that Di Beichen's situation was extremely bad. Jun Hongcheng's strength was too strong. The tyrannical power of the fire attribute was constantly destroying Di Beichen's body. Even though he had already taken the pill, his condition did not improve much. This won't do. This power is already destroying your internal organs. If we don't stop it soon, your injuries will be very serious. Bailey Hongzhuang frowned. Even if this power was not enough to endanger Di Beichen's life, but if this continued, it would definitely take a long time to completely recover. Therefore, stopping the destruction as soon as possible was the most important thing. Di Beichen also knew that he couldn't hide his situation from Bailey Hongzhuang, so he didn't say anything. The difference in strength between Jun Hongcheng and him was too great. Even if he used all his strength, he would not be able to resist. Bailey Hongzhuang couldn't care less about the situation around her. She quickly began to treat Di Beichen. She couldn't let this injury affect his foundation. Everything happened in the span of a few breaths, leaving no time for anyone to react. At this moment, the second elder was supporting the fallen Daiheoan. His bloodshot eyes had also become moist. Why are you doing this? Second elder said bitterly. Cough, cough. Daiheoan coughed up another mouthful of blood. His face was as pale as a sheet of white paper. There was no trace of blood in it, but the corners of his lips pulled up into a sincere and warm smile. He looked longingly at the second elder and said with difficulty, "Can I call you father again?" The second elder, who was already in extreme pain, felt his heart move after hearing this weak voice. His eyes were sour and tears almost fell. Ever since he found out that Daiheoan was not his child, but a spy for the Jun family, his feelings were very complicated. He didn't know how to face him. Even if in his own position, he should hate Daiheoan to the extreme. But looking at this familiar face, he found it hard to hate. Because, all these years, he had always treated Daiheoan as his own son. Even if the identity was not, the feelings of these years could not be faked. Yes, yes. Second elder nodded, "You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Chronicles YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.